Can you help me connect the PC to the TV? Cause
I don't have that cable right now. I'm using it. Yeah, it just doesn't connect right now. Yeah, I'm using it. I had
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and thanks for stopping by. Our dedicated team will guide you through with the latest updates and theories at Starbase, Texas. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon for future streams.
9, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Zack Golden. Welcome to another Starbase Weekly live stream. Happy to be with y'all here today. Got a lot to cover. It's a time of no launches, which means all of the focus is on construction, whether that's building things up or tearing them down. Tons going on all over the place, so got a lot to cover. And this week, obviously, we're going to have Alex with us again. Alex, thanks for being here.
Morning, Zach. Morning, everybody. Can't wait for the show. So let's get to it.
Awesome. And we will have Matt handling questions and donations. Matt, thanks for running the stream and doing all of that at the same time. Appreciate you.
absolutely looking to get this week cranking, so let's do it.
Awesome. Yeah, and we're going to go ahead and start off, as always, at Massey's. Tons going on here. Pretty much never ending at this point, but they're reaching a new phase, I would say, where they're starting to kind of finalize a lot of things and getting very close to getting the pad back up and running. A lot of the questions that y'all have been asking over the last few weeks are finally starting to be answered, starting with the static fire test stand. Looks like they are finally preparing to reinstall the clamps on here. So, one of the things that we were kind of expecting that they wouldn't need to move this in order to do that. And y'all can see they've got their welding plates on top of this, which those clamps and they're not all clamps. I don't know what I should call the other ones, like pedestals.
Yeah.
Yeah. So six clamps and 6 pedestals. But you can see them welding those plates on here. There was a good overhead shot of this too. Or this one is just closer up. Some thick plates.
And the lack of symmetry is troubling.
What do you mean?
The 6 aren't evenly spaced.
Really?
Yeah, if you look, some of the long pieces are shorter than the others.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can see these ones are like 2 pieces side by side, and then there's.
Yeah.
Is this the only one that's longer though? All
Uh,
the rest. Oh, and so 2, 2, and then singles on here.
yeah. And if you look on the hot stage ring, it sort of makes sense to where you're dividing. The crown is where the columns are. It seems to be where the clamps are above.
Are you referring to here?
That's one of them. That's one. And that's one. And then there's the 3 that look like they're just for lineup. And the other one is
What is
that
this?
I'm assuming it's a data port.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I've never actually noticed that before in the past few weeks, but I honestly have not been looking too closely. Where'd it go?
Right there. It's definitely curious.
That's interesting. And I thought they had another something like that on the other side, but wow.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's a 2 lead-ins for the load spreader. One of them's right around 7 o'clock in this frame. Yeah, right there. And then 180 across is counterpart.
Interesting. Yeah, and I'm sure we covered it on the previous week, how they showed during the launch the shielding that's on top of the actual hot stage ring for Booster 18. Pretty cool to see that shielding that they added on top of it. I was hoping that they would show like an overhead of it so we could see the full pattern, but yeah, definitely answered some questions for us on how that's going to end up looking. I thought I may actually have a screenshot of that if I need to show it later, but yeah, pretty cool to see those developments. And beyond the getting the clamps ready, they're making more additions onto the gantry for the ship QD, so we can see these 2 platforms that are extending off of right here. So I think we'll see 2 side-by-side QDs there.
Definitely how it's looking like it's going to go.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to the overhead. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's interesting how far they stick out. It's like damn near going to be touching the ship. I think there's another better overhead too. This one.
Yeah, this one's great.
Like from this angle, it almost looks like it's overlapping the clamps. I know that's a kind of a trick of the angle there, but
it's a lot closer than the previous one, it appears. And then on the ground, you can see the 6 clamps. Right, for head up down the ramp. Yeah, right there, the entering frame by the orange. Yeah.
And so they have changed these, right? They've changed them from the previous design because they swapped out the clamps on the workstations in Gigabay 2.
Yeah, we haven't quite worked out the mechanism. I know Chrome Kiwi, I don't know if you released it, had a animation that he thought how they were working.
Yeah, I'll have
But
to check on Twitter to see, or X to see if he posted that. But yeah, that's nice progress. I mean, because we didn't even really, after they rolled out Booster 18's hot stage ring or the forward section, we were hoping to kind of get a good view of those. But from the ground, it's kind of hard to actually see that, at least with this new mechanism.
yeah, and it was the same when they were installing them on the center stand. Could never get a good look when they were craning them in.
Right. Yeah, it seems like they're a little bit more low profile somehow. Like I don't know if this is like the tab right here that kind of locks onto the skirt.
That's what
You
it's
can see.
looking. Right. Hopefully when they're installed, it'll be more apparent.
Yeah, sometimes you got to wait for like the ship transport stand to roll by, one of the cameras, and then that'll probably be the best view we ever get of it.
Right.
But yeah, they're making tons of progress on getting the everything ready for the QD. A lot of the pipe work is mostly completed up to the point where it turns up towards the actual gantry. They got some interesting stuff going on here, which I don't know if we want to get too deep into it right now. But one of the weird things I'm seeing here is this pipe that like tees in on three sides. So I'm kind of curious. Do you have any ideas on this, Alex? I'm guessing this is probably nitrogen.
It's either nitrogen or it's the fire X is what I'm thinking, because there's also right by the crane, to the right of the crane boom, there's a flange on that same pipe. Yeah, right
Right
there.
here.
Yeah, and the previous fire X had those all over it.
That would actually make sense. There's another one right there. Yeah, so they basically would have the fire suppression going on all three sides, which kind of makes sense. You to have it split and then join back up, and it's just like constantly pressurized, I guess, and whichever location needs it, it opens up at. And on that note, they have been running the water lines from the water tank, which they moved for the fire suppression system. So you can see the water tank over here, and then they have that underground water pipe that basically turns down in front of the bunker. And so this seems like a little bit more substantial than the previous fire suppression system, like just by a little bit.
Bit of an understatement.
Trying to find the perfect overhead right here. There we go. Yeah, it seems like they're pushing a lot more water through this time. They never even got a chance to use it last time because it was destroyed.
Right.
But I guess part of learning from that lesson was burying the whole thing underground for the most part, so that really everything that other than over here, most of it is going to be fully protected. So hopefully, if anything happens in the future, it'll actually be able to do its job. But it seems like I'm guessing what's going on here, they are redirecting some of it back in a different direction, maybe towards the water farm.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see where those are heading. Because there's that black pipe running next to that one.
That is the nitrogen supply.
The high pressure
nitrogen, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, filling up those. Okay.
Yeah.
You moved it.
Right? This is like one of those lines that we like searched for forever to figure out what it was. And we like couldn't really see it for like pretty much a full year, just because of the color. It like appears like it's a shadow of another pipe sometimes if you look at it from certain angles. And that one took forever to find out.
Yeah, I remember.
I think
Trying to
though it's
block that.
weird having fire suppression in the water farm.
Not gonna lie, it's a head scratcher, and nothing's really flammable back here either.
Yeah. Well, I mean, anything can burn, but like, I don't think you would really have to worry about like spontaneous combustion going on back here. Everything's inert nitrogen and water. So, um, yeah, curious.
The head
But
scratcher.
y'all can see that they have started on the roof of this building now. So last week they had put the steel beams for the roof, and then now they have those corrugated panels down and are preparing to start the rebar. There's the other angle that down here gives you a really good view of just how thick this roof is. This is pretty intense. I'd say it's about 3 feet thick, maybe.
Yeah, it's up to waist level on most of these.
Oh yeah, that's a good view right there.
And it looks like they're using steel plates around the edge, which is
Where are they lining this with steel? Oh,
from the other angle. It looked like they had that railing welded straight to it.
but there's no studs on it.
That's what's curious. I mean, they could add those, but yeah, it doesn't look like traditional formwork right now. Because that back edge has a railing welded straight to it.
This one or this edge?
No, the bottom frame, right above the Fire X, and yeah, right there.
Oh, it's welded to the column, you mean?
Or to that plate, that steel plate, it looks like, which is strange. Don't know why they...
Yeah, I mean, it's weird because without having the studs on there, like it seems really weird. And I guess you could add them later, but that would be like something I would imagine you'd want to do beforehand.
Right. Yeah, if it's not, it'll just slide right off, it would seem.
Yeah. Well, I suppose there's probably a lip on the top of these columns.
Right.
That's resting on top of that.
But still, that'll just develop a crack with all the vibrations and everything else.
Right. I mean, the good news is it's a extremely thick roof. I mean, you got 3 feet of concrete plus the steel beams underneath it. So you could probably drop the top half of a ship on there and not have to worry about the whole roof caving in.
Probably a loaded ship could be set on top of it without a problem.
Yeah. I mean, this is basically like one of the staging pads for the ship, essentially. I really hope this never becomes necessary. Yeah. I truly believe that Ship 36 incident was like a 1 in 1,000 chance of something like that happening. Because with how many Falcon 9s they've produced, and they've only ever had one of them explode during static fire testing. I mean, Amos 6 was like basically identical. To this situation. It only happened one time. So
SpaceX must hate COPVs.
Yeah, I mean, but lessons learned. I think it's turning out really well. They what else have they started down here? I was noticing earlier. I think they're still working on the flame bucket. I can't really tell because they've added in. They've had these pipes sitting next to the test stand for like a really long time, and I explained this on the episode that I released yesterday, how these work, and we've also covered it on other live streams. But these are still sitting here, and I've not gone through to actually compare them week by week to see if they're still working down there or not. I think there's like 3 or 4 untouched, maybe 5 untouched pipes in here, which I probably have been there since the beginning. So I'm assuming they are probably done with the flame bucket repairs.
waiting for, and we won't see it, their first operational test.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the weird thing to me though is that I don't know if we have an angle that fully looks down there this time. They still haven't cleaned up the bottom of the trench yet. Like they got all the big stuff out, but there's a ton of debris that's still down there. And then over the last few weeks, I think they may finally be done with it now, but there was a ton of debris from the ship that was still laying out in the surrounding. I don't know if we consider that wetlands. I want to call it a forest, but it's not a forest.
Swamp.
It's like a swamp / marsh. But all the debris that was off to the side over here, a little bit out of frame, they finally removed most of that. And I think,
Still have that power
yeah, it
head.
seems like they've gotten most of it. It's funny how there's still things sitting around though, like engines.
That sphere by that engine. I wonder if that's part of the pogo suppression.
Ooh,
That's
hold on now.
sorry. Wavy red flag in front of a bull.
Right. Let's searching through thumbnails to find the perfect. There we go. This might be it.
Where's that?
No, I think this is the
Oh,
sump that's for the comes down from
okay.
the downcomer. The downcomer
Yeah.
attaches into this, and then you have the sump that goes in 3 different directions.
Okay. Yeah, I saw the sphere and the plumbing going into it. I'm like, ooh, that could be. But no. Yeah, because there's the
Yeah, I
valves.
believe this was in the trench, because the entire thrust puck. So I think all the center engines in the trench, and then the RVACs somehow ended up outside the trench. Very curious how that ended up happening that way, but yeah, I'm guessing they just recently pulled this out from down there.
Looks like they cleaned down there actually from this shot. Where they put a tarp. No, that's clean. Well, they're just pipes. No. Now there's still a bunch of trash right at that edge.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this has been bothering me for like weeks. Like the piles of debris that are still laying around. Like why haven't they been cleaned up? Are these?
They look like
Somebody out here
lifting
doing squats or what?
mechanisms. Exactly. Oh, it's a special bar for.
Yeah, those are probably a lot bigger than they look right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, but tons of work going on in the actual trench and surrounding that. The water farm is like one of the only areas that we haven't really seen any work, but I guess we probably shouldn't expect to see anything here. One of the things I did mention in the episode that I released yesterday was about future changes to this in relation to expanding or basically modifications that will be needed before Raptor, or sorry, the version 4 ship. Obviously, that's a bit of ways out, but it's an interesting topic though, because I've just been thinking about it over the last few days. Like I really think that after the V3s, they'll probably end up having to make modifications to the water farm. Like I'm pretty sure that they would need at least one more tank when they move up to 9 engines, and then I have a feeling they'll end up swapping out the entire flame bucket. Because I've just been thinking about how they would make those modifications, and I just have a feeling that they're not going to be able to do that with the existing flame bucket.
Trying to drill out those holes for, assuming that the pipe supplies are large enough. I wouldn't know. Because I'm assuming they're just water jetting the pipes too.
I did some calculations on just the supply coming through those pipes, and it seemed like like they would have no choice but to increase the size of them. So I don't know. I'm probably gonna have to look at that again, but just like trying to predict the future on that one, I have a feeling that they may end up swapping this entire flame bucket out eventually. Obviously, that's gonna be a while from now. Like we probably shouldn't expect to see that until the Gigabay is done. So, it'll be like a year from now, but something to consider for the future.
Just in time. Line it with cladding.
Right. Let's see. Moving on, I guess we can mention some stuff with the methane farm. I don't know how deep we want to go into this, but they're definitely making a lot of progress right here. Finally, getting some of the gas lines connected coming out of the trench or the culvert, whatever you want to call it. So they've gotten. I think this is the methane return line right here.
No, that's a liquid nitrogen.
Oh yeah. Going over to the subcoolers.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of this is starting to get hooked up. I think they still have a few more that they need to do on this rack, or it's kind of looking to me like these. Okay, so this is one of the liquid nitrogen lines right here, maybe coming up and going that direction.
Yeah, so sounds those are labeled.
How can you see labels on them?
The orange, there's another shot that shows them a little bit better.
Oh wow, a spare methane line.
Yeah,
What does that even mean?
I don't know, unless they're gonna plan ahead for somehow testing with methane, which would be weird for the tankers, but
You know how helpful it would have been like a year ago if they labeled everything like this, so you can see it from 6,000 feet up.
Yeah, and then some of the lower ones, one of them's the CH4 flare on the high pressure.
It says that on the.
Yeah, if you scroll down,
Oh, down
yeah,
here.
right there. Yeah.
Oh, so like that's basically CH4 bleed coming from the ship that they just send to the flare stack.
Yep.
Huh. Super helpful. Like I said, that would have been nice. That would have been nice a year ago.
I know. Usually,
but yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Usually, it's just their colors, and they're not very consistent with lux and nitrogen because they're flip flop between blue for both of them. It's very frustrating.
Yeah, this makes me really like the team from KSC who's did all this redesign. I like the McGregor team. They're more like, yeah, we know what it is. We don't need we don't need labels. We know what it is. But the KSC team wants everybody to know what it is. So I like the way that they're labeling these, and along with the way that they've done all these skids. So still hooking up most of the skids. They do have some of them starting to be connected. But yeah, really cool just the way that all of this is coming together. And I guess now we can confirm that they're still using the vertical methane tanks as storage for methane.
Yep.
Which kind of, I guess, what we were assuming from the beginning, but also kind of thought that it wouldn't really be necessary because you have this huge methane tank here. And then, I don't know. What are your thoughts on this? Why so much methane?
I mean, they're gonna have to get their cadence up, and once they have their liquefaction plant, they'll just probably keep everything topped off, and since those sort of will run at a trickle rate, so it's just easier to store it in a couple of different locations.
I have a feeling that they've never even drained a full, like maybe a 60-second test.
I don't even think they have either.
Yeah, like because I'm assuming they maybe load at least one, probably and a half onto the ship, but like what they actually use during the test, like they'll never. I feel like you could get away with never using this.
Definitely. Unless they're planning multiple static fires a week, it seems.
Right, or fully loading the ship for some reason.
Don't say that. But yeah.
Well, when they moved to the version 4 ship doing static fires with 9 engines, I imagine then they'll probably add more methane. Not just for consumption purposes, but to counter the thrust of the ship. They'll probably end up needing to increase the propellant load for that reason,
True.
which kind of scary. Imagining the an equivalent event happening with even more fuel on board, but I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
It'll be a more impressive firebolt, but it won't. That won't happen.
Yeah, and it looks like I guess we talked about this on previous weeks that they do have space for 2 more subcoolers for liquid nitrogen, which is also liquid methane, which is also confusing. But as of now, they have started to, which we'll see as we get to the launch site, they've started to dismantle a lot of this stuff in the launch site as far as from the tank farm. So we're thinking there is a possibility they may bring some equipment from the launch site over here, but confused on whether or not that's necessary. So we'll see on that. I think we'll have lots of theories going by when we get to the launch site, probably in about an hour.
Yeah, 'cause with 4 of those, that's equivalent of what they have at the new pump tank farm.
Yeah,
Loading
and you're only
capacity.
using 2 pumps, so it's like that seems like way too much subcooling capacity.
Especially for methane that doesn't require that much.
Yeah. So interesting to see what's going on there. I wish they would talk about some of these systems sometimes, because like it's fun as it is to figure it out on our own. It would be interesting to know like the thought process behind some of this stuff. I mean, I guess to some degree they don't necessarily want to give too much information away to like competitors, but you know, with the way that these flyovers happen, people who are involved with GSE at other companies can probably look at this and get way more information out of it than what we're able to pull. So I feel like it couldn't hurt to just talk about it sometimes. That'd be interesting in the broadcasts for the launches if they kind of discussed some of the infrastructure related stuff a bit more.
Yeah, and stuff hand wavy. Look at our new farm.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Let me see. I'm trying to figure out which area I want to go to next. I guess down here. So not a ton of changes down here. They are still working on the ship cryostation. So I think they're making some modifications to this. We know for sure they're going to have to change out the clamps on this, which that's not what these are.
No. I've been trying
What
to
are
figure
those?
out. I don't.
Let's see if I can get a better overhead view of that. Maybe. So these right here are the struts these struts connect for the center engines for the gimbaling. Like they're struts that connect to the actual gimbal hardware. So it seems like they've pulled all the actuators still seem to be there.
They put in a bunch of last week showed better some clevis sends those eyelets that they attach the cylinders to. Right.
Okay.
And
Along the
that's
edge?
almost straight down, right next. If you go straight up, right below your cursor, there's one of them. Yeah.
Oh, so those are the clevises for the struts?
Yeah. And
Those
those
are
almost look like rocker arms. Up top.
these?
Yeah, they almost look like
They do. Yeah, that's interesting. But there's 4 of them, which is odd.
odd. Yeah.
Usually, being able to count the numbers of things is really helpful for figuring out what they're being used for. One of the things that they're going to need to do here, which for some reason they haven't started to yet, is they got to modify this cryo stand to use 2 QDs. So that's interesting that they haven't started this, because they're going to need this before they need the static fire stand. So I imagine we'll start to see them tear this apart soon.
I have a feeling it's going to show up in like the booster ones did, pretty much fully assembled.
Right. Yeah, and that's an item that is probably being built at McGregor, if I had to guess. Man, they really are like piling it on to that McGregor team lately. But yeah, this is definitely, most of this will probably end up being swapped out. In general, it seems like they've increased the amount of commodities going to both the ship and booster, especially on the high pressure gas side of things. So yeah, we'll definitely see some changes between here and the actual distribution manifolds. Very curious, they got all these plates down here. It seems like they're going to be adding some shielding onto something soon.
Perhaps, like they're doing at the isolation and purge, perhaps they're going to cover between the bunker and the static fire gantry. The pipe racks.
Like these?
Yeah. That's the only. But why they're assembling them from scratch is a head scratcher, considering.
Yeah, that they just send them out there fully assembled usually for everything else.
Right.
Wish these were shields for the trench walls.
Don't tease me like that.
I suppose it is possible though that they could, because there's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've literally been waiting for that for like a year. I remember when we first saw the ones that were over on the other side of the facility, that we immediately thought that's what they were for, and they're literally still sitting there.
Right.
So I guess moving on to oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, they still haven't moved up. It's collecting dust.
Yep. Moving on to the other test stands, we thought they were going to do another test on 18.3 this week, but they actually ended up doing some testing for the actual ground systems, it looked like, instead. So there was like huge, big clouds coming from the tank farm, which kind of looked like the start of a cryo test. But it seems like they have started to actually function test some things within the tank farm. Specifically, this big vent back here that we is what we saw the venting coming from. So I think I was a bit curious figuring out what part of the system that's coming from, because they have not connected. They haven't brought in the actual LOX pumps yet, which is interesting because they seem to be using these split. I'm guessing they're basically smaller LOX pumps than what they have used in the past. Probably in the middle of, as far as size goes, in the middle of the current LOX pumps they have over here, which dare I try to find an image of them? Yeah, so in the middle of being probably a little bit bigger than this and smaller than the ones that they have at the launch complex. And it seems like they're using those at KSC as well too. So I am curious what's going on with the LOX pump situation, because they used the big ones at the for Pad B, but it seems like everywhere else they're starting to go with smaller pumps, and I'm guessing they ordered a whole bunch of them at the same time, and they're still waiting on them to show up. So, a bit curious on that.
The only thing is perhaps it's a reliability, since they did have a habit of swapping out the driver, the motors for the LOX pumps. Pad A, Pad 1.
Right. Yeah. It'll be interesting when they finally show up. I think that'll answer some questions for us. I wonder if they'll still be the ones that, because there's holes in this platform,
Yeah.
right? For those. Okay,
Some.
so they'll still be the same turbine pumps.
Yeah, the multi-stage.
Yeah,
And
interesting.
I think it's the launch site. We probably have a very good view of the pumps, the LOX pumps. I think they're visible. Well,
the big ones?
when we get, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I know what you mean. Okay.
Yeah.
Confused me there for a second. Yeah, one of the other things that related to all of these test stands that's been going on, which I'm not sure if it was mentioned last week, but they have started pulling wiring through all of the new conduit throughout the site. So they pretty much redid the entire electrical distribution system down here. So it basically went from here. Well, they added 4 more. These are the new size of Tesla Megapacks.
Looks like it. Or
Yeah,
a run
even
and
bigger.
change. Yeah.
Those are
So they now have 6.
those are the mega packs, but they are not the newest one that they just announced.
So they're like in between this version and the new one.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, so quite a bit of backup power here, which is really just a backup for the grid power, because this is on. They should have 3-phase power coming to this facility. And the interesting thing about that is, like, when that explosion happened with Ship 36, they lost power to pretty much everything. So that backup power wasn't actually useful in that situation. So interesting that they are actually increasing that. But I guess if they do lose power here, they want to be absolutely certain, especially if it happens during the middle of a test, that they're able to detank at minimum. I don't know if they would actually. I do think actually they may be able to run a full test off of these, because it is quite a lot of power. And I do think they have done that in the past. But normally, when they were running the entire site off of these, they had generators connected to them, so they were constantly being. They basically had constant power running to the megapacks.
Speaking of, they put a generator by the new power bunker. The one, yeah.
That's what that is, backup generator?
Yep.
Why?
I guess they won't have 4 nines of reliability.
but I mean, I guess that's what 2 levels of redundancy. If you lose power, you switch to these, and maybe this is a generator for these, and not necessarily the building.
Yeah, but it's just layers and layers. And the other thing they did was they moved all the control gear from being decentralized into, it looks like, this new bunker.
Right. Yeah, which you can see
Especially
the AC units on the side of this.
yeah, for the VFD drivers.
Yeah,
the drivers could be in those as well, like you're mentioning.
Within the yeah, I mean, I would imagine they are, because these are very large.
Right. And there's a couple more I saw that weren't installed. I forgot where I think they're down closer to the old fab building. Oh, right there on the gravel. Right by the
right there.
mast, yeah. 3 more.
Yeah, so those will be
Oh, so
1,
6.
2, 3.
Yeah, so there's going to be 6 of them. And let's see. Oh, 2 methane and 4 LOX pumps.
What?
There's 3
Oh,
of
yeah.
them right there.
Wait, there's actually pumps down. Are you talking about the pumps or
The
the?
drivers. The
Oh,
VFD
okay.
drivers. Yeah, that
Right.
haven't
So
been
2
installed.
methane, 4 LOX.
That's what's looking like.
So that means that the existing LOX and the existing liquid nitrogen will stay running off of what they already have been.
Yeah, it's looking that way. It's
Interesting. Yeah, so this electrical distribution goes all the way down here, and then basically all the way up to the static fire stand. And you can see they got the loops of cables down here, so they're starting to pull cable through all of that conduit. These guys are nice and neat the way they've laid all this out. And so that has been getting pulled basically through that conduit down to, where does it run to? There's one line that runs across here, I believe, and then the other one comes and runs past the booster cryostation and then over to the methane farm, I think.
yeah.
And so you can see they're also got loops of cables down here that they're pulling through, and all the way back here. You can see it back there as well too. So I think that'll get rid of these bunkers that they have.
Correct. And all the conduits are, readily accessible.
Yeah, it's crazy just like rewiring the entire tank farm, which we did to some degree predict that would end up happening, but I don't think that I expected it to be this significant. Like I knew for sure they would have to redo everything on the methane side, but to do the entire farm is insane. Like you see all this cable down here as well too. They got a lot to go.
Did you present it? I thought you were going to do a deep dive on Massey's power situation previous to this.
Yeah, I thought about it, but I don't know. I'm on the fence. Like I know that like it's a fun episode for me and the people who do watch it, it's fun for as well, but it's like one of those topics that has a lot less interest in it. So I don't know. I'm on the fence about that.
Very much an inside baseball sort of thing.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see because there's so much stuff with Pad B and V3 booster and ship. I don't know. Maybe I'll get to it. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll save it for this episode or for the live stream. Let's see. What else do we got? So they have also started building a new can crusher cap down here, which is hilarious because they've made so many modifications to this one that now they're building another one, which I think is taking it back to the original version.
Sad but true. The only thing I was thinking is the other one they're using where they have to put that plate interface, and perhaps this one will interface with the hot stage ring. But that's also would seem to be a very niche need for this much structure.
Sorry, I just got distracted by the chat. I do occasionally look over at the chat, and you guys are hilarious. Somebody says new drinking game. Sip if Zack says interesting or curious. You know what? You wouldn't survive the show because everything's interesting to me. That's my word, and curious is Alex's. So you got that.
Yeah.
There's
Backwards.
another one that says 2 sips for saying as well too.
People woke up and chose violence and want to end up in the hospital.
It's all good.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah, so back to this can crusher cap. So we were kind of thinking something like this would happen. Honestly, I thought maybe they would end up using this one over here, but they're just building a whole new one. And in my opinion, this is super late. So just like all of the additions they're making to the can crusher stand, I feel like they're far behind on this right now. And again, that could be just like due to the fact that there's like only so much that they can do at the McGregor fabrication building, because it's not that big of a building, and the amount of components that they fabricate in that building versus the size of it is pretty impressive. Like they at one point, I think they had like 5 boosters worth of engine shielding laying outside of there and it was like at the same time where they were working on the frames for the flame trench. So that is a very busy fabrication building. But we haven't seen much progress on the testing hardware that they've added for the grid fins. This seems to be like in the same state that it's been in the last 3 weeks or so.
They painted everything, but that's about it for these outriggers.
Yeah, it's weird because so we have one right here which kind of lines up with the grid fin, and then this one, these are straddle on either side of it, and there's nothing on the other side, right, for the
No.
other grid fin?
No.
So that's curious, and this actually it's not even perfectly centered on this either, so that's weird.
On the left column that has, I think one of those is pointed
This one?
towards that. Yeah, the middle one, but there's like 2, I don't know what you'd call those. They look attachment points of some sort. Yeah, that image
They're so hard to
shows.
see.
That's perfect. So they don't correspond to anything either.
Yeah, this is one of those things that when we see it, we'll be like, "Oh, we should have noticed that right away." But
right? That never happens, Zach. I don't know what you're talking about.
right. Is there any more hardware down here that looks like it might end up being installed there?
No.
So probably waiting on more equipment to show up from McGregor then, in that case. Ooh, this is a good one. Okay, so you can see a little clevis bracket there, and then another one right here.
Those look too
And
small.
another one right there.
Compared to the size of the structure, those
are tiny. Right. There's not one on this beam.
Oh, it looks like.
Is this a bracket down here? Oh, that's just a fan.
It's a fan. That looks like
I have one of those and it's broken right now. So I'm really upset about it too, because like I'm trying to clean my carpet, and luckily I tested the fan before I even started cleaning the carpet, and it's just like not working. So if they don't need that, I'll take it. Yeah, I don't see any other hardware down here though.
So Gulnar just sent a $5 Canadian super chat, and they asked, would having all the conduit and control bunker so far away make it more capable of maintaining power and functions should another ship dynamic fire?
Well, yes and no. So I don't know. It's a bit curious because I don't know. I think this seems to be at this point maybe just related to pump operation, and maybe there is some aspect of like monitoring and controlling what's going on with these test stands, possibly. It's difficult to tell what all is in that building. We'll know for sure if they remove all these little bunkers that are around there. Then that'll give us a lot of answers. But then they also have that bunker next to here. So I'm curious which parts of the system are ran from that bunker versus this one. This seems to definitely be power distribution because they have the two transformers over here, and I imagine in this part of the building there's probably control systems for at least the valves inside of this bunker, and probably the water farm as well too. But I don't know if the entire methane farm is being ran from this. I have a feeling. Well, so we did see the this concrete right here. You can see where the electrical conduit came down through here, and I don't remember where it went. I don't think it went to this building. I think it went to the methane farm.
For two large sets of conduit that went under a propellant trench towards a methane farm.
Okay.
But
We should be able to see those coming out somewhere.
I never was able to find them. At least the volume of pipes versus little stub outs didn't seem to line up. But
yeah, that's going to be like one of those Where's Waldo things where we have to spend some time outside of the show looking for it.
Right.
Yeah, so tough to answer that question, but in general, I would say the amount of protection that they have on all of the bunkers, so the three big ones, should theoretically improve the reliability, in if a similar situation were to occur. That those buildings, the original bunker burned from the inside out, though. So, yeah, I mean, it's still possible that with liquid propellants flowing on the ground, that they could still just enter the building, which I'm pretty sure is what happened last time. So yeah, I mean, I would say we'll have to wait and see, but I don't want to see that. So I think at this point, the best we could do is just speculate that all of this is going to stand up a lot better. If a similar situation happened, I think in general, the biggest risk area is down here, and they may put shielding on top of it, but anything over, at least in this part of the blast area, I think is still at risk, but everything else seems to be much better protected.
Yeah.
Like I'd be willing to be in here during an explosion. I think I'd maybe be willing to be in that smaller control bunker too.
Yeah, if it was sealed from the overpressure, I'd be fine.
Yeah.
I don't want my organs liquefied.
Right. Quite the experience. I think we had some more questions come through as well.
We do have a bunch of questions if you're ready for them.
Yeah, let's
Rapid
do it.
fire.
All right. So, along with Gulnar's super chat, they also sent 5 gifted memberships. So, thank you so much for that. And along the gifted membership train, we have Astro Joe sending 1 gifted membership as well. So, thank you for that too. All right. So, as far as questions, we have Kaus King with the first one. Why aren't they more focused on testing B18.3? Don't they risk repeating a B4?
Well, the good news is they're actually working towards it. So they've done the initial cryo test. And as you can see, they're building that cap down there. I would say the more concerning part is the fact that we haven't seen, they haven't started to get ready for ship testing yet. That is a bigger concern to me. I have a feeling there's a possibility they could do ship testing here. All you need is like an adapter like this that can sit on top of the clamps. It's basically the same exact thing. The same adapter could be. Matter of fact, they may already have another one.
Could be what those old transport stands are sitting around to get modified.
Oh, that would make sense. Yeah, because they have that other stand up here in the top corner. Yeah, so it's possible. I have a feeling that they could retrofit this for that purpose, which would finally make sense out of why this is here in the first place. So we'll see on that. There are some other structural components down here which could be related to that possibly. I don't know if that answers the question, but yeah, I think, in general, booster testing, even though booster 18 is being prepared for its final stack, I think we'll probably see the full stack. Well, we won't see it, actually, now that I think about it, because they're not going to do it with the door open like they do with the ship. But yeah, they'll probably complete the final stack of booster 18 within the next 2 weeks. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if it happens this coming week. We'll kind of have an idea of when it does happen, because we'll see the best indication that we'll have when it does happen is when they move in. What do you call it? For the raceways, the raceway installation jigs, which we'll see when we get here to Sanchez that they've been working on. So that'll be the biggest indication. But in general, once Gigabay really starts rising, I mean, we'll basically reach that point where, especially with boosters, the only way we'll know when they're finished is when they just start rolling out. So
yeah, it appears they just want to test currently the downcomer common dome, and now they're
right.
Oh wait, we need to modify the stand for the grid fins.
And the hot stage ring, that to me is like got to be like one of the top priorities. So like I said, I'm glad to see them bring this cap in here, because I was starting to get worried that they weren't going to test that.
Right.
Like, I want to see that one tested to failure.
That'd be glorious.
I have a feeling that most people would think like if they did test to failure, it would probably be a bad look from the outside, because people would immediately think that something was wrong. But I think it's good to have data on failure limits.
We haven't seen a good burst test in quite a while.
Yeah, Massey's used to be really good for that, and now it's not anymore. Cool. Any other questions from the chat?
Absolutely. We have one from Daniel Kennett. He asks, is the lack of SQD at Massey's and Pad B SQD arm lead us to believe that this is very much in design abeyance? No sign of that ring element on S39 either yet.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. Like, the booster really is only concerning itself with filling and detanking, basically, whereas the ship, now they're starting to include elements of propellant transfer, possibly. So that could have something to do with it, that the ship QD is getting into a bit more of an advanced stage. Well, really, both of them are, but especially on the ship side. So yeah, it's definitely possible that they're still in that design phase, but I don't know. I would like to believe that they've gotten that figured out by now. So if anything, I would assume that they're probably fabricating those components currently. And there is a possibility that they are testing them as well too. So I would imagine that if they are testing them, then it's happening at McGregor, and we just can't see it. So
all the cool stuff gets tested at McGregor first.
All of it, yeah.
Perfect. All right, we have another question from Saad Usmani. It asks, are the clamps on the hot staging truss and the static fire stand the same?
On the static fire stand and what?
The hot stage ring.
Oh.
They
should be. Not on this hot stage ring, because this doesn't have that hardware installed on it. But the one on booster 18 probably does. Well, it better. Yeah, so the hot stage ring for booster 18 is very different than this one. Well, they look similar, but it has the clamp hardware. I think it has a few more, if I had to guess, like the comms pass through for the ship, possibly. And obviously the shielding on top of the dome is different as well, too.
Yeah, I think there's some shots where you could actually see some of the wire harnesses where they entered into.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did see that this week. Perfect.
It's really starting to grow on me the more I look at it.
I know, and especially now that it's obvious that it's fairly removable.
Yeah. Yeah, if anything happens to it, you can just replace it. I don't know if the same is true for the shielding on top of the dome, but the struts on this can easily be replaced. So that's a very good feature, I would say.
Uh-oh, Ryan entered the chat.
Which one?
Hanson.
Okay.
All right, so we got a question from Mechazilla. Do you guys think they will paint the static fire stand after it's done?
Probably. I mean, yeah. It's not that. It doesn't look that bad right now. But yeah, I imagine they will, because this thing usually looks super clean when it's rolling down the highway. So I imagine they'll probably paint it. Is Ryan gonna? Oh, look at this. This is actually a better view than the one that I was looking at before.
That's what I was hoping, is that Ryan might be able to have some insight. But
hello, Ryan. You know that you got that push to talk thing on, probably. Every time I talk to Ryan in voice chat, he's always got to figure his mic out for like 30 seconds. So we'll see if he ends up joining us here or not. In the meantime, any other questions?
Absolutely. We have Sir Sharpie Labubu with, do you think that Massey's ultimate fate will be only for proof testing operational starships in the future?
Sorry, are they talking about the cryostations? Well, Starbase is primarily an R&D facility, so it'll always be an R&D facility. So anything that happens with the version 4 ships will happen here first. So they got at least one more year of R&D minimum. But in the meantime, so you'll always have those structural tests over here for at least the next year, maybe 2. And then, your cryo testing stations will be as they are now, which are for operational vehicles instead of test tanks. So I'd say it'll still be a mix of both.
Perfect. And the next couple refer to the roof that is being poured currently. All for One asks, could some of this involve remote control fire suppression over the entire area?
technically, the Firex and its associated functions should take care of some of that, but it's sort of the secondary fires if there's a mishap that was the biggest issue last time. Well,
yeah, I don't think there's anything that can be done in those situations.
It's a ridiculous amount of energy.
Yeah, for sure. And Fly Jake was asking also about the roof. What about the vibration from static fires? How do you think the roof's going to hold up?
Dead mass is really good to suppress vibrations because it's a meter thick concrete slab. It shouldn't resonate.
The water helps a lot too from the from the flame bucket.
True.
Yeah, absolutely. And the last question comes from Daniel Kennett. Asks, is the maintenance deck going to be the last thing fixed?
The maintenance what?
Deck.
Maintenance deck from the static fire stand.
They did patch.
Oh, yeah. We'll see that at Sanchez here in a second. Are they talking about the one that for the Raptor platform?
Yeah, they're talking about the little movable deck that's got all the junk on it still, I think.
Oh,
okay. This one. This one's. I mean, the concrete's been replaced. They, I think, maybe have replaced the motors and the actuator on here. I think it's
like
difficult to see.
Yeah, I think they did
Probably
fix
looked-
most everything there already.
Yeah.
Well, this looks like the difficult. It's difficult to see in the lighting here, but yeah, I don't know. I would say this is still like the last of their worries right now. But I mean, replacing those components is fairly straightforward. So
And that's everything we got.
cool. Yeah, I did see somebody from the chat asking why we spend so much time at Massey's. Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot to talk about at Massey's, and wherever most of the action is going on, we tend to spend most of our time there. This week happens to be different than most because there's a lot going on everywhere. So I wouldn't be surprised if we unfortunately end up approaching 3 hours on the show, but we're going to try and not do that. Try and fail again, like always. Cool. So moving on to Sanchez. Actually, I'm just thinking if there's these long distance photos or the stuff in between Sanchez and here that's probably worth talking about. Let's see. At minimum, I'll just show the current status of River North. Pretty nice looking. Seems like they're some of these are ready to be moved into, at least these first 4 right here. So yeah, I won't spend too much time there. Where else? Yeah, so this is, I guess I'll come back to this when we get to the Gigabay.
Yeah, same with Highway 4, the lot.
Right. So I guess back to Sanchez then. Starting off at the ground fab building, starting to clean up out here a little bit, not quite as much random pipes laying on the ground here, which is mostly a sign of the progress at Massey's. I think they've moved a lot of the stuff that they were fabricating for Massey's to Massey's. So I think if I had to guess, they're probably moving on to tank farm renovations here, which is a bit interesting because I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen with the tank farm. We do know that it's currently being disassembled, but not sure exactly what's going to replace it at this point, or if anything will get replaced in the current footprint of the Pad A side of the tank farm. But yeah, they do have some interesting stuff going on, groundwork down here. I'm not really sure what's happening there, but
I'm assuming it's upgrading the electrical for all the Cybertrucks charging.
oh, you would think they would have had that handled long ago. So all of that should be up against in the inside of this wall, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe those have bidirectional charging, so they could use it as a backup power source.
Honestly, I'm surprised we didn't notice them preparing for these to arrive. Because I feel like there should have been signs. And that has been one of the most interesting things to me over the last few weeks is just seeing everywhere you look, Cybertrucks all over the place. Pretty cool the way they've done that. I wonder if that's a sign of, waning interest in Cybertrucks, that they happen to have hundreds of them sitting around, and now they just use them for all of their fleets. Like, oh, well, let's just buy all these. But yeah, interesting to see them all around here now. But moving on, the transport stand for, I think this was the one that they used for booster 14, 15?
15.
Yeah, booster 15's transport stand. So they've removed the alignment pins from this, and now they're going to begin swapping out the hold down clamps. So that leaves one more of this type of stand, which I believe is over booster 17 is sitting on top of right now. So I think they finished converting. Matter of fact, let's just try and find it. Where is it? The down here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this one's been fully converted. And so they're going to need to basically do the same thing they did to this one to, what is that?
Don't know. Thought it was for the SPNTs joining, but that doesn't look like it.
Oh, okay. So this is what they put on the SPMTs when they're transporting the boosters?
Think so. But
Okay. Shiny object. Yeah, so they're basically doing that same conversion to this transport stand. They're building some other stand down here right now, which is interesting. I think there was some thoughts that these are related to the ship engine install platforms, which we'll see here shortly. You know what? Let's just go ahead and skip to that really quick, because I hate coming back to things. So in the Megabay 2, they've been modifying these workstations. So they, starting with this one, they added the new hold down clamps onto this. And then they also replaced the platforms in here for the engine install platform. So I guess before they didn't have these walkways up here.
No. I'm wondering if, since the attic is changing, if they needed more
Access.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this would basically allow them to walk on either side of the RVACs. And I would imagine that they want something in this area too, but I don't know if they can put one across like that.
Looks like ways those you could drop down a connector. There look like little fingers on the edges of those walkways, even in the center.
Right. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, but as far as those ones that we saw at Sanchez, I don't think they're the same thing, because you can see that these actually are like supports in the middle on the top, and then on the bottom it just connects to the existing platform, whereas the other ones look very different. So I think these are related to something else. They look similar, but they also look a little bit heavier duty, because they have these plates on the side of them. So this may be. Oh, you know what we haven't seen? We haven't seen a new ship transport stand, so we don't know if they're going to just swap out the clamps on the other transport stands, or if they're building something new for those. So it could possibly be related to ship transport stand, maybe. I kind of want to see a new ship transport stand, because the boosters ones look, they got a massive upgrade, whereas the ship stands, they've basically been the same since day one, minus the clamps that they've changed out on those. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they build new ship transport stands.
I just want to see as they come along, go away on the ship stand, where they chain it down.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Something a little bit more substantial would be nice to see. So I do wonder if that's what we're seeing here. But down here, this was something that I mentioned a few minutes ago, maybe about a half hour ago. So this right here is probably one of the jigs for the raceway for the booster. Honestly, it could potentially be for the ship as well too, because there's two There's another one of these over over here. And I think this is a new one as well. It looks like they're building it right now.
Yeah, it's
Or wait, this may just be one of the vertical beams for the.
no.
This is for the raceway, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so they're gonna need one for the ship and one for the booster. I don't know if they maybe need two of them for the booster for some reason, but it is possible that that's what's happening there. Man, there's so many pictures from Sanchez. It's hard to like find what I'm what I'm looking for sometimes. So yeah, this one's I think this one's a bit longer than the other one. But that's a good sign of basically what we're waiting on for Booster 18. After the full stack, they'll be installing everything on that raceway. So these are being prepared ahead of time for that. And Matt, were you about to say something?
Nope.
Cool. Did Ryan ever get his mic fixed?
Now you might just be.
Doesn't seem like it.
Cool. Well, yeah, just feel free to hang out, Ryan. So another interesting stand down here, which we were kind of speculating on last night. This is another, whoa, what just happened? Another one of those interesting workstations, but this one, I don't know if it's just not complete, but it does have handrails on either side right here. So this may be a special type of stand for something else. Somebody speculated that it could be for booster aft sections where the that separate tank comes in on the side over here. But I don't know if that would work for that because that tank doesn't get installed until after, or it actually gets installed into the LOX tank first before it's lowered onto the aft section. So I'm not sure if that necessarily makes sense.
I don't. Because that would have to be on the turntables, so that doesn't seem like.
Right. Yeah, all of these are interesting because there's just so many of them. And I mean, until we get a good view of what they're being used for in the factory, tough to say. I have a feeling they're just basically for the stacking ring sections, like everything outside of like all the barrel sections, not the forward, common, or aft sections, basically.
There's a ground shot this week of, I don't know who got it. It was the one that's outside Megabay 1. And there's gas manifolds on every level. So it's probably, for when they're assembling the barrel sections and welding on the interior stringers is what I was speculating.
But don't the stringers go along the entire length of the barrel section? Like I feel like these would get in the way of that.
Yeah, it's hard to judge.
Yeah. I really hope we get to see that one day. And that Cybertruck parking lot is distracting. Okay, so moving on. The what elsewhere in Sanchez? I don't think there's anything going on down here. I know somebody's going to ask about this stand, and we whatever this is, we haven't seen any real progress on that.
It's static for months now, it seems like.
Yeah. Moving forward up here, the engine work stand for the static fire test stand is being repaired right now. So they stripped all the steel plates off of this, and I'm guessing they're just replacing them right now. So finally getting that fixed.
This might be a whole new one as well.
Did they add a level on top of this?
Yeah, that center section is double stacked now. So if they have a repeat, it'll definitely, this time it'll go through the deck.
This is upside down, right?
Yes. I believe so.
Yeah, I wonder what that's about. I'm sure we'll see as they continue to work on it. Making sure I didn't pass anything else down here. Still got the doors for the launch mount waiting down here. We haven't seen any movement on those. I guess we're moving up to the QD arm, which as of last week has been showing some good signs of progress. If I can find the good view for it. This is probably a good one. Yeah, and this was a little bit different than I thought. It's basically backwards from what I thought it was going to be, but really cool the way they've done this. And I have a feeling with the way that they've built this, they may end up putting shielding on the top of this as well too.
That's my
Although,
speculation.
yeah. So you'll have it basically a box around this, and then your walkways on the side. So this looks a lot better than the first version of the QD arm. So nice to see some changes on that. Still no signs of anything related to the extension on that arm. I'm hoping that the reason we haven't seen that is because they're redesigning the claw.
I think it's going to be completely different. The other thing that's very curious is the lines are exiting off the top instead of the lower sections, like the plumbing in the tower was set up for.
Yeah, so they're basically we're seeing some lines on the ground that makes it a little difficult to differentiate. So there's some right here, but these are gas lines, I'm guessing.
Yes, and hydraulic.
Big flanges for gas lines, and then you have all of the other smaller gas lines. That is a ton for the ship. Jesus. That's a pretty cool interface. We're going to see a bunch of flex hoses attached to these, right?
Yeah. And then it looks like the main... I thought there was one from the mud flats looking this way. This one might work.
Not really. Okay. We'll stand by as I try to find one more view of this. I don't know. I don't think there's going to be... Wait, this is it. Cool. Yeah. Very curious about these. So on the tower, they're much lower, right?
Yeah, they're below the hinge point. They're in the level with the actuator and the lower hinge point.
Okay, so down in here, basically.
Correct.
So maybe these are going to curve down through there or something like that. It's really weird the way this turns in that direction.
Right. I would have thought they would have slotted them below inside the truss, but yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. Overall, though, it looks so much better than the current version. I'm definitely liking it. I think the forward part of this is going to be very interesting, though. I'm shocked that we have not seen that yet. And that kind of gets back to that question that somebody asked earlier, if there's a big delay happening here. And I think that's possible as far as with ship QD design, but you would think they'd at least know which commodities they need. Which, I mean, they clearly do because they've ran most of it. So I don't know. It's interesting to see that they're having a delay on everything related to ship QDs. Sorry, I was just scanning to see if there was anything else related to that down here. What?
Windshield.
Is that a shattered windshield?
No, I think.
Or is it just dirty?
Just dirty.
Okay.
I thought the same right as you were scrolling in. I was like, holy cow.
Yeah. I almost said the word that y'all were going to have to drink too, but I caught it before it left my mouth. Yeah, so looks like some underground plumbing going on down here. I don't know if these are from the drainage or if this is like conduit or something that they're putting down there.
There's
Weird.
so many vaults around, yeah, but it seems you would put the sheet piles in before you dug, but
Right.
whatever.
What else do we have at Sanchez? I think that might be it. They're
The scrapyard they've been scrapping.
Oh
crazy.
yeah, we gotta talk about the scrapyard. I'm sure there's a better view of it, but yeah, I'm gonna search for that better view. Cool. So all before we get to this, all of this stuff is are these things they pulled out of Gigabay 1 or something, or these are still platforms that they're installing?
It looks like they're assembling them.
Okay. Yeah, the amount of platforms in those buildings is insane now. Like I remember at the beginning we didn't think they were going to go that far, but yeah, the amount of platforms in both those buildings, especially when we look in Gigabay 2, you can kind of see just that middle workstation. It's pretty crazy. I think they're probably upgrading the ones for Gigabay 1 as well too in some locations. But yeah, this was the mystery object of the week. Most people thought that this was something related to HLS, but like, there's no way.
Yeah, it's the coupon test for everything.
Yeah, I mean, if I was flying on something that had that many windows in it, I would be scared, even after seeing the results of the structural qualification testing. But yeah, something like this would certainly need in its own structural qualification test afterwards, if that was the case. But we don't expect there to be this many windows on HLS. There's not really a need for that. And the other thing is that they're kind of, it's difficult to see from this angle, but they're at different heights. So
the other thing is you would never, on a pressure vessel, you would never have right angle corners in your cutouts for fatigue cracks.
Right. Does it matter even if you put some kind of frame, double-sided frame on it? Like
if the exterior is part of the pressure vessel, that wouldn't matter unless it's very welded in very well. But for
I
weight
just imagine
reasons,
like a window frame could become a structural component in this case. But
I think it's just welding stress and how it's reacting with the stretch form panels. Just because
yeah,
everything.
it's curious though because they've been using these stretch form panels for a while now, so it's interesting to see something like this now.
And usually their coupons are much smaller.
Right. Yeah, like the size of some of the ones that we can see here. There's definitely a bunch on here, and a lot of I think one of the things that made people think this was related to HLS are the bars that go down across the windows. But I think these bars may have been welded on here to stop it from collapsing.
Correct.
It's a new jail cell design for the police station.
That would actually be kind of cool to put like a roof on it, and then you have like this is your office with a 360 view looking out. It'd be cool to make something out of it, but yeah, I don't think there's really truly anything significant with this little
Instead of tower crane, you got tower office.
That would be actually pretty cool. You need some significant reinforcement in here to just prevent this thing from collapsing, I think, but yeah. Not too many other thoughts on that though. So let's see what else. Sorry, what else was in the scrapyard that you were talking about, Alex?
The dance
just
floor
mainly
is
the
gone,
engine platform.
and the engine platform is on its last legs.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah.
What was the first item you mentioned?
The dance floor, I believe, has already been scrapped.
Really?
I didn't spot it unless it's by back of Megabay. And I don't know if it came up last week, but Grover's gone.
Yeah, I was pretty sad to discover that because Grover's been around for longer than I would probably guess like 80% of Starbase employees. And then it just sat here for a long time and then it just left. So I guess they don't really have a need for it anymore. But yeah, the dance floor that we're talking about is the one for the orbital launch mount. And apparently, I guess that has in fact been scrapped. I got in touch with Anthony from Rocket Ranch and I told him to try and buy it because it would be cool to use as an actual dance floor. But I guess SpaceX doesn't really have an interest in selling something like that. So,
And the engine install stand would have been a great viewing platform.
that's true as well. Yep. If anything needs to be scrapped, it's this. Why is this still here?
I only have bad answers.
Yeah. Maybe it's just a reminder, you know?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So moving on, we'll go over to the backside of the Megabay 1, where we have some interesting angles. Dang it, I just said it again. Niall got me like thinking about this all day.
Just say
So,
interesting.
This was a pretty cool view, and this is actually crazy because I was literally thinking about this exact topic the morning of this flyover. I was wondering what is going on with the Raptor 2s that are staying in here, because I did have a scene in my latest episode where I showed the everyday astronauts when he was taking a tour through here and all of those Raptors in there. I'm pretty sure there's still a bunch in there, so I was wondering what they would end up doing with them, and I think we finally have our answer. So you can see this. What do you call this? Is it like a jib?
I think it's a jib.
So this is actually, and sorry, I thought there was a better angle of this that I was looking for. Apparently not. I know there's at least one more angle that shows this. Maybe this one? Yeah. Yeah, so there's a bridge crane in this building, and then this jib is attached to that bridge crane. So this is how they get engines on and off of the trucks. So it looks like they may be loading these onto here. Surely they're not delivering them. So it's probably more likely that they're removing them, making way for Raptor 3s.
Oh,
So the big question is, what are they going to do with these? I have a feeling they're just going to scrap them and we won't see anything actually cool happen with them.
They'll sit outside McGregor where they have all of those outdoor rusting.
Yeah, there's a ton of them at McGregor. I think what would be cool is to have one engine display for every building. I don't know if they have enough Raptor 1s for that. But like, top of the Megabay, one for the Star Factory and Gigabay in Florida, maybe one out in California at Hawthorne. Yeah, it would be interesting if they like just keep some of them instead of just scrapping all of them. And the other interesting thing is why there are so many of them in the first place. Because I have a feeling that they knew which was going to be their last vehicle, Booster 17. So it's, well, yeah, I guess on that note, there's probably 33 of them just because of Booster 17, right?
Yeah, and as many as they reflew on the last couple of flights, they might not have expected them to be that reliable.
Like they thought they would have to replace more than they did.
Yeah. Which is
interesting because a lot of people maybe would have expected that they would have replaced more of them because some of the engines on Booster 15 were pretty warped. But I think they look worse than they actually are, and I have a feeling that as they're firing, that warped engine bells kind of straighten out, if you will. So, and maybe there's probably to some degree they wanted to test how those engines perform in that condition. So,
Yeah, I have a feeling once they pressurize it with the methane for cooling, it might pop out, sort of like a
right.
car dent.
Sorry, I was just looking at the chat really quick. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and move on, I guess, down to the Gigabay. That was a really big image. So you can see they've started cranking out, getting these tower cranes up and running. I don't know if they're working today. They are. Sorry, I just looked over at the Lab Padre streams, and nice to see them working on a weekend. Yeah, they finally finished up the last concrete pour, I believe. Yeah. So they've got the entire floor of the building completed, and maybe I have an image that shows the whole thing a little better. There we go. So basically the entire floor is completed. I do find this slightly interesting because of the fact that I'm pretty sure they had to break out concrete in the megabays when they put those workstations down there. But with how much taller this building is, it's possible that they won't need to do that anymore. They'll make them all above grade, I guess, instead of recessed. So yeah, you can see that they've got one of the tower cranes up and running. Kind of. It hasn't really done. I think it's only lifted like one thing so far.
I think BJ was saying yesterday is it looks like it finally had its qualification tests yesterday, and then it was helping assemble this other tower crane.
Okay.
Bit.
Yeah, you can kind of see the if I get a different view. Yeah, so they're doing something down here with that. So you can see all the components for this tower crane, the A-frame down here, and then the winches down here.
Yeah.
There's another name for these, right?
No, they're winches.
Okay. And then the deck motor.
Yeah.
So all of that goes up into here. And then shortly after this flyover, they started bringing in the truss sections for the all these terms are like flying out of my head right now. This.
Yeah. I think that's a jib.
Yes, the jib. And all of those components are basically being stored right now in that storage lot, those two storage lots. So there's one down, I'm going to show the big one second. So they have this storage lot, which is primarily just steel. So these are all of the columns. And they have, where's that big? Okay, yeah, they have one forklift for offloading those as well too. Trailers down here, so I think this is their secondary yard, which is weird because you would think it'd be their primary, but I think this is actually the primary. So every time they bring steel up, it comes from here currently. So you can see that they have the other two A-frames for those other two bridge cranes. Then the jib is not the right word for this.
I'm just gonna call it the boom.
Yes, the boom. Wow. Okay. Such an easy word. Yeah, so they have all of the components for those cranes down here. You can see the boom sections for these basically moved up to Starbase pretty much right after this flyover. You can see they were getting ready to start sending those up there. So basically you have some cranes, forklifts down here that are constantly loading things onto the trailers. So they basically have more trailers than trucks. So they keep trailers over here, load things onto them, then the trucks come and connect and then bring them up as they're needed. So I imagine some of this stuff probably happens at night as well too, where they start staging everything that needs to move up the next day. But you can see just tons of steel around the edges. There's some mostly columns over here, and then I think these are like the cross beams, if you will. That join the columns together.
Yeah.
And then you have like deck panels because there's every level is going to have a deck similar to what they have in Megabay 1, Megabay 2 right now. So just tons of equipment down here that's all being shipped up. And it's bothering me that they have 3 forklifts down here, because they've been using this crane to offload steel. So you would think they would have a forklift up here so that they could offload without using the crane, because that has kind of slowed down the progress of flying all of these columns. But they have started it. As you can see, they've gotten, I think there's 12, 13 of them. Oh, and this random one they put in the corner.
Right. I'm hoping when they're done assembling, when they move the LR1300, then they'll just start staging the steel where all those crane mats are currently.
Right. So you think this is just in the way of everything right now?
Yeah. You can see how far the side panels separating the work bays are going to extend. Yeah, just about to the crane mats. All those little wood plates are where columns are going to be.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you would think they could bring them in through right here and at least let this crane start working. But I guess I'm guessing we'll probably start seeing way more work as soon as this crane is done being assembled. I'm looking on the lab hydro cam right now, and it looks like the boom is fully assembled, and I'm guessing most of these components have already been installed.
Yeah, I think
So,
there was counterweights down there, which the big red ones.
these?
Yeah, I thought those were. Where's BJ? He usually is quick to correct me on crane stuff.
Yeah, those are counterweights. You can see them on the back of this one down here.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, these look. Somebody was commenting earlier if these are normal bridge cranes, normal tower cranes, because most people are used to seeing the ones that there's different variants. I don't know what you call the normal one, which most people are used to seeing. Say that again.
Hammerhead.
Yeah, and so these are basically more ideal if you have multiple cranes working within close proximity of each other. So they can, boom up basically and work within a smaller space. And usually you also see these in like downtown areas as well too. So yeah, that's having 4 of these. What I wonder is if this actually has the reach for this corner.
Probably does. Those booms are surprisingly long.
And they can go out basically parallel, right? Like with the ground, they don't. Okay. Yeah. So I think next week, the next time we see this, it's going to look vastly different. I imagine this entire middle area possibly maybe have that first level, and then starting in the corners as well too. And this crane will probably move over here. They're preparing for installing those other 2 cranes currently, which I think after this image was taken, they already have both sections of the mast, the first 2 sections, basically what they have here. They have installed both of those, I think, in both locations. So making great progress on that. And once those are up, yeah, the amount of work that they're going to be doing down here, you'll have 2 full aisles where those trucks will be able to come in. And I think they may be preparing for the trucks to be able to come in through the backside, which in my opinion is super necessary, because what they've been doing now is pulling through here and then backing up, which is crazy. Like most construction sites, you really try to avoid that if possible. So I was expecting them to come through here and coming through the ring yard, because there's not exactly a ton of stuff happening in the ring yard currently. but I don't know. It seems like they maybe want to keep all the construction stuff completely separate from this area and not have trucks driving through there, which I guess is understandable. But oh, okay, you got a second entrance coming down here.
Yeah, and they're just paving that whole side area.
Nice. Okay, so this could be the full laydown yard just for this aisle right here. Because they don't have access. They're not allowing people to drive in through this side of the parking garage.
No. And that parking garage hasn't been that full lately, but
No,
at least
they've
in the
basically
playoffs.
just been using it for construction. I think it's mostly that people aren't parking on the roof. Like the inside is pretty full,
Oh,
but
yeah.
nobody wants to park on the roof.
I don't know why. It's not hot or anything.
Right. Yeah, I think it's mostly just being used for construction access right now, because there's so many workers down here that they don't have access to that parking in front of Sanchez anymore because all the Cybertruck parking. So this is primarily for construction right now, and then eventually will turn into Gigabay parking. And we'll see in a few minutes that they have that other parking garage getting close to being finished as well too. But yeah, really, really great progress on this, and I'm excited to see it start flying together. Yeah, this is gonna be crazy. It's weird because the workstations don't look big enough from the air,
Right.
but
Until that's a 53-foot trailer with the counterweights on it.
this one,
The lower, yeah. And the bay is wider than that, so
yeah.
still, that's only
I guess the interesting thing to me though is that they like to have, the hemispherical, or I don't know if that's the right word for the work platforms that actually reach out to the vehicle. So I wonder if there's enough space for that, like in the corners here. I guess they probably will end up putting platforms like this. We haven't seen that type of platform yet for the one in Roberts Road, so it's going to be interesting to see how they do that.
Yeah, and Roberts Road only has 2 of their tower cranes up.
Yeah,
They haven't
and
even started.
I hope you guys aren't playing that drinking game because
They
you
are. They're
won't survive.
passed out by now.
Yeah. So really cool shot looking inside of Megabay 2. It's weird that we get so many more views in Megabay 2 than 1, and like they'll do all the stacking operations with the door open, but when it comes to boosters, the booster team does not want us seeing what's going on in there. But the nose cone for ship 39 is in this back corner currently, and they didn't bring out that ring section yet, right? Oh yeah, they did. Yeah.
The forward dome was mated.
Yeah, the forward dome. So the nose cone and payload bay has been stacked on top of that forward dome, and then the day before this, they had brought in the final section of booster 18. So that's the final. Is it a 3-ring section or 4?
I think it was 4.
I think it's a triple 4. Yeah, the quad section for the methane tank. So there's only 3 sections for the methane tank. So that is the final one. So once they finish doing that, they'll be able to do that full stack, which is exciting. And once again, we probably won't get to actually know when that's happening because this is about how far they open the doors these days. But these workstations in Megabay 1 are being swapped out right now. They've done this one in the back corner, and I think they're probably working on this one right now.
Yeah, that one they swapped the clamps already.
This one?
Yeah, you can see it's open.
Okay.
But
I'm imagining they're doing some work platform stuff to the fact that they have this in here right now.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Gigabay is going to be like that, where the work area is going to be elevated up, just so the stands and stuff don't have to be inset.
Right. Yeah, it'll be cool seeing an entire wall full of these, basically all the way across. I like the way the Mega Bay one is kind of laid out a lot better than the ship bay currently. But the ship bay is way more outfitted than Mega Bay one right now. Like the amount of platforms going up to here is crazy.
The booster, since there's so many, or like the LOX tanks, whereas there's not a whole lot of going on, they can kind of get away with not having this much coverage.
Yeah, true.
But I don't think that they're
Yeah.
positioned the right place for tiling either, so.
No, and they usually don't they the ships face this as well too?
Right.
Like the tile side is over here, which is crazy. That's like the weirdest thing to me because I thought the biggest benefit of these platforms was for tile installation.
That's
initially.
what was my expectation as well. So hopefully that's
But that is not the
changed
case.
and right.
Yeah, I imagine they'll probably have like some of the stations. Well, for one, most of the tiles will come out pre-installed. That's what we've seen on ship 39. A lot more tiles pre-installed as basically what we have been expecting for the last like year. They kind of fell back on that a little bit, and I think that was mostly just because they were having issues with supply of those tiles. But now it seems like they're back to how we expected them to be as far as mostly tiling the ship before it rolls out. So not as much work of tiling to do inside of here as we have seen over the last year. But yeah, I imagine that we'll maybe have engine stands or workstations in the Gigabay that are tiles towards the platforms instead of tiles out. I think the main reason they aren't doing that is because they have the QDs, the ship QDs in here.
Can I remove it?
I think they.
But
I thought it was right here.
yeah, that's where I remember it.
And there was. Oh, well, okay. I mean, it makes sense that they removed it though, because they got to transition this over to the new QD style.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully they show up soon. I'm dying to see
Right.
what they look like.
Yeah. Nobody has them yet. They need 3, 4 for here, 2 for Massey's, 1 for the launch site. So, got quite a bit. Oh wait, sorry. 2 for. Yeah, I think I missed one at Massey's. Yeah, so quite a bit, and we're still waiting to see those actually roll out. Let's see, anything else at the ring yard? And I don't know if there's anything at the Star Factory that we need to talk about. They are doing some work with drainage, I believe, for this little addition that they put here. There's all these holes. I think these are holes in the side here.
Look like them.
They may be like taped over, but there's holes there, and then you can see these pipes down here. So they had to remove all the drainage that was in these areas in order to put this building here. So I think they may now have the drainage coming through the building. And then these are the pipes right here will be to bring those drains out. Maybe, because this location doesn't make sense.
Almost looks like lighting.
Oh.
We do have a few questions and stuff too, if
Yeah,
you'd like
I do.
to catch up with those.
Absolutely not. What do we got?
All right, first one is a $20 super chat from Sergeant Snipey. They have a Gigabay theory for us. They say, on the Star Factory side, looking at the embeds, there's no middle post, so 6 workstations will be open to the Star Factory. Once the Gigabay is done, the Star Factory will expand into the space between and serve as a transfer aisle.
Yeah, that seems likely. What were you saying, Alex?
They are officially a member of BJ and Alex's team side load.
Yeah, that would basically make it so that all of these stations are for stacking ships, right? Because you would
Yeah.
yeah, and then these are where your actual engine install stations are, basically.
Or is the other? I mean, one of my theories is stack, and then the other side is everything proof testing, and then
And
eventually
then post
post.
flight and engine install stands over here.
Yeah, that's my theory. I'm sure I'm gonna have a lot of crow over that, but
And then maybe 2 booster stacking stations and 4 engine install stations.
yeah. Or they're gonna do the 6 might be for combination and booster and ship. Just if they do the phase 2, which we all speculate on, I'm sure they'll break it up different.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, ships boosters, I mean, since they're already reusing them, they're not going to be making nearly as many.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean the side load thing is interesting though because you're gonna have turntables in here.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know how that works necessarily because I feel like the thing that makes the most sense is if you bring those ring sections in through the aisle and then you lift the ship off the turntable and then on top of the chain it together with that ring section and then lift it back on top of the turntable. So I personally don't know how that would work with having components move in through the side. So I'm not sold on that.
Neither am I, but that seems, since there aren't columns there, and then the Roberts Road, they look temporary, the columns they have along that wall currently.
Interesting.
The columns are sitting on concrete blocks, and they have truss keeping the walls together, or vertical. So,
but if there's no platforms coming across here, then I'm guessing you would just need stairs zigzagging all the way up to the top on each row.
I think it'll only be at most as high as a Star Factory. And then it'll continue on. So basically, giant doors just like that door in Star Factory, essentially. But I don't know if there's enough room to bring in a ring section to lift it up onto the platform, lower the stacking on top of it, especially how they're chaining them together.
Yeah. I mean, let's see. Let's look at it from the side really quick. I mean, I guess you can, if the turntable's right here, there's maybe enough room, maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know if I believe that. Yeah. Anyways, more questions on
we sure do. So we had a late one come in from Massey's from Wilfred, and he asks, for the ship's static fire stand, are the 2 circulating pumps to prevent ice buildup in the heat exchangers after their activation when the nitrogen pipes are still cold from leftover nitrogen?
Can you read that again?
Absolutely. So he says, for the ship's static fire stand, are the 2 circulating pumps to prevent ice buildup in the heat exchangers after their activation when the nitrogen pipes are still cold from leftover nitrogen?
Are they asking about the deluge system?
Yes.
Oh, I guess these are questions from my episode. I I don't know. It's hard to get too deep into that, but I guess they're talking about these pumps if they're circulating the water through these tanks. I think when they end the test, like at the moment they basically start depressurizing, these two valves shut, and so anything that's inside of these is going to vaporize pretty quickly, and then there's nothing else coming in there. So the water is going to keep moving longer than there will be actual cryogenic liquid nitrogen in here. So I don't know. I have a feeling that they're not really worried about freezing at the end of a test, and if it freezes at the end of the test, I don't think that'd be a big deal because the test is over. So it'll melt pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good. So this next one will be for Sanchez from Crane Man, asking, will the red truck with trailer be used for transporting the BQD aft covers to the launch site?
I hope, but I think last week they had a truck there as well.
These will have to go out on SPMTs, I believe. I know they got shipped in on trailers, but I think they'll use SPMTs for these.
Yeah, because I think they came in on a low boy as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
some outriggers.
Cool. Now, Gulnar asks, Zack, are all the upgrades that are going into the megabays changing your prediction for a second Gigabay?
No. I mean, I think we know for a fact that there's going to be a second one. The extension to it. So yeah, it'll be multiple phases. I mean, right now they can't just not outfit these workstations because they need to build chips. So they're not going to just do, they want to improve the workflow currently. And then theoretically, some of that stuff, like let's say they build out two workstations in here and then are able to start using them, then some of the stuff in these buildings could be moved over. I'm not sure how much of it will be directly compatible to just move over if they disassemble it. But no, I don't think any of my opinions on that have changed. They're definitely going to need to, because you're not going to just keep these two buildings while you also have this. I think you want like one continuous structure. So yeah, I'm as far as I've been told by people that actually work here, I was told this before they even demolished the high bay. So
Yeah.
The other thing is, if they do a second phase, any learnings from their procedures in phase one can be applied to that and then retrofit the
yeah.
original and not slow down production too bad.
So as far as speed goes, Mr. Surname's wondering, will the Gigabay be finished here before the one in Florida, do you think?
I think so. They need this one in some ways sooner because they're building all the vehicles, at least probably for next year's 39A campaign, since they haven't even started breaking ground on their Gigafactory.
Power factory, yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Now we got a question from Nalbandian. Asks, if Massey's and the new pad are both up and running soon, how quick can be the turnaround for launches in 2026? Also, hoping we can reuse boosters at that point, right?
Yeah, I mean, the most they're able to do currently right now, being limited to 25 launches a year, that would be every 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. 14 days basically. I expect that they're gonna, within the next 3 years, try and get that up to 50 at least, if not 100. So yeah, that'll be at that point once a week, once every 3.5 days or something like that. So yeah, I feel like with 2 launch pads, that's just an indication that they're gonna probably try and do that at some point, which they're just taking it step by step because I feel like work the locals into being okay with this possibly. I think there's an aspect of that in there where they want people to
Yeah.
get used to it first.
The putting a frog in water and not dumping it into boiling water theory.
Yeah. I mean, I can just imagine that there's going to be a lot of local debate about this in the future, the next time they try and extend again. But I fully expect before they even hit 25 launches per year, they're going to already be in the process of trying to add more. So,
yeah, with the amount, at least in the submission to the Army Corps of Engineer of methane liquefaction areas, they definitely are going to go for a higher cadence in their 25 once Pad A is back.
Yeah.
I agree.
And logistically, probably for tankers, this would be a better location to be launching them as well.
All right.
Cool. Any more questions from the build site?
Yep, we got another question from Kai Nessel. Asks, if all the walkways are at the same distance, will there be intermediate work platforms for access of parts between those levels?
Like freight elevators, I'm imagining?
I'm really not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's one of those things that we'll have to wait and see. Like, we can only see where those levels are located, which are basically the same as the regular Megabay. So as far as being intermediate levels, it's difficult to determine that.
Yeah, for sure. Also from Kai Nessel, are there embeds for columns in the rear of the transfer aisles that prevent rear doors, or no?
None.
Nope.
That's the way, we like it. All right, so Rudberg asks, the 4 cranes aren't tall enough. How will they make them taller?
They self-climb. You look underneath the red slew column.
Yeah, I would recommend looking up on YouTube how do tower cranes, how do self-assembling tower cranes work, and then they'll show you. It basically has to do with this little platform right here, these 2 platforms. Sorry, it's down here actually, right?
Yeah, one of them has hydraulic jacks, and yeah, it's that lower one because there's room to slide in the short segment.
Yeah. Long story short, they lift the mast sections up, attach it to the side somewhere on here. I'm not sure exactly where. And then the jacks lift it up, create a space in between, and then they slide that section in, bolt it down, and repeat.
All right. Well, we have lots of speculative questions, so to skip through a bunch of that, we're going to end off the area with one question about Sanchez. Do you think they will ever replace the Sanchez inventory tent with a building?
Come on, you need to have at least one tent.
No, thank you.
Yeah,
I'd say they need to, but probably not going to do that while Pad A construction is going on, because they need the space in here. So.
All right. Well, we are all clear then to move on to the next area.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll just take a glance at the village, just because I know a lot of people want to see that, specifically the parking garage progress. So parking garage and the apartment building coming along well. They, I think, are preparing to move down to one crane. So they're almost done with the parking garage all the way up to this corner right here. So yeah, they're. Is there another angle of this? No. No. Yeah, so they're getting close to that, finishing that, and this is just a absolutely gigantic parking lot compared to. I would say this is almost twice as large as the other parking garage.
Definitely.
So, yeah, this is basically not only for the residents living here, maybe just on the top 2 floors, top floor, maybe even, but then the office building and factory parking will also be in here. So, I'm sure they're very much so looking forward to this. Cool. Not really anything else to discuss in the village. Excuse me. So we'll go ahead and move over to the launch site. Pad A or Pad B? Where do we want to start? Actually, let's start with ASU. Because there's not much to talk about here, but there's just confusion on my side. So yeah, they've been bringing in these bags of I forget what it is.
It's a glass reclaimed gravel of some sort.
Yeah, and they've been just stacking them up, but I don't think they've been actually using them yet.
I think that whole gray area. But
You think that's what this is?
yeah, because I mean, trucks have been coming all week, and the amount doesn't look like it's changed too much. Maybe. Oh wait, never mind.
Yeah. I feel like they're just stacking them up. It's weird.
Wow.
I'm so
yeah.
confused about what's going on in here. You know what the purpose of these? Like, why not just use regular gravel?
No clue, because I mean, it's lightweight is the only thing, but it doesn't seem, especially with that drill rig around, if they put piles under here to support the tanks and stuff, and none of the, I don't think they're building like they did as the one in Brownsville, a ground storage tank. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because usually they'll do this for houses in their basements or the first floor for a thermal barrier.
Okay, that makes sense.
But I mean, most of the structure is probably going to be on columns, so it's kind of pointless? Question mark.
Yeah, very, very curious.
Or they're just going to fill that culvert with it. Wrong answers only.
They did start laying conduit in some of these culverts. It's
right.
Yeah, not much to say about that. It's curious.
Like that electrical vault right there in the corner. They put dirt in and then a vault on top. So it's not too crazy that they might just fill this thing with gravel.
Curious is the new interesting.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot going on down here, but nothing at the same time. So we'll go ahead and move on to Pad A first.
It's exciting.
Which, yeah, finally reaching that point where they're starting to demolish this. This is crazy when you look at it from this aerial view. Just the amount of spalling damage on this concrete is
even
visible from 10,000 feet.
Even the Fondag has all the ripples in it.
Yeah, I feel like I can imagine how this feels. Like I can feel it on my fingers right now.
I was gonna say, I bet it's cool to walk on.
I bet.
With bare feet, yeah.
I bet there's some architects who would kill to have that finish.
Right. Yeah, then we have Pad, the actual launch mount, which is being prepared for dismantling. I'm sure this was discussed last week, but I'm going to bring it up again because I think it's crazy. So we did see somebody who posted on X after that launch. They found one of these plugs that are in here, and so you can see like all of the ones that have popped out. There's I think I counted. I'm not going to count them again. Actually, I am. 4, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14. Wait, what? 16? And then there's also some on the top of the BQD, which is wild. I find it very interesting that this never happened before. I mean, it really shows that they took it down to the very last. I imagine that if they had planned on performing more launches on Pad A, that they would have started replacing some of these panels before this last launch, because they definitely knew this was coming. With the way that this pattern is on, I mean, the heat thermal damage on this is insane. I would like to walk on that as well too.
A funny thing, or not funny, but it's kind of obvious that that's probably just from one Raptor, just from how it's all radiating from
Yeah,
the central. And the same thing with the one on the right.
yeah, it's amazing. And I mean, after that launch, we did some comparison footage, and I didn't end up finding what I was looking for. We were thinking that they lifted off with a bit more thrust this time, but I didn't really find any indication to verify that that's what was happening. And also, without the full telemetry, it's a little bit difficult to tell that for sure. But yeah, it seemed like maybe they even at least started the pad avoidance maneuver earlier, possibly. And that just like increased the amount of wear on top of here. But either way, if they had more launches to do off of this, then they would be doing a lot of refurbishment right now, a lot, way more than they have any other time. So luckily, they basically took it right down to the wire and don't really have to worry about that. One thing that we can see from here, sorry, go ahead.
I think it was intentional, just to see how much damage they probably did the avoidance maneuver early, just to
Right.
blast that, since they do like getting data off of.
For sure. Yeah, this is going to be the best part about one of the best parts about Pad B with that deck, this deluge system on the deck, to prevent this from happening. I imagine it will withstand that abuse a lot better than what this one did. Any improvement will be a massive improvement. 11 launches is a lot for not having a water system on here, so I do expect the other one will be far more durable. We have seen, as of this morning and last night, they have begun to mark up and I usually get videos for this stuff, but I was lazy today. They have kind of started painting green marks around the deck, the outer shielding panels, and then you can also see it down here on all of the pipe work. So these are basically just markings for the demo crew to just tell them where to cut, which honestly, I'm not even sure it was necessary. Like, you're taking the whole thing apart. Just cut wherever you want, really. Yeah. So it's basically marked for death. I don't think that stuff was visible at the time of this flyover. They were probably getting prepared to start doing that at this point. Are there things to paint down here?
Nope. They've been very good at hiding stuff when they pulled off the cable. Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So they removed the cable from the drawworks, or what's this block called? There's a name for it.
I'm the wrong person.
Yeah.
That's 2 crane adjacent for me.
Yeah. So there's one on the top of the tower as well too, and I think that one is still there. Oh, that is not the image I thought it was. What? I keep clicking on thumbnails that look like they can see the top. Okay, so yeah, that one is still up here. And I'm guessing somebody just messaged me to let me know. Crown block, traveling block on the top chopsticks. Thanks, Jake. Yeah, so they basically undid the cables down there, unspooled the cables, and they completely removed that dead spool, which okay, I'm guessing it drove away. Yeah. So yeah, they had it. Okay, it's just back here in this corner. So they had it. They put it on the SPMTs here, and this should be the one that was in this side, right? But how did they get that out?
I thought it showed up on that by the crane, that blue frame. I'm not sure if that's the actual dead spool or if they brought a secondary cable spool to
replace it.
Yeah.
Okay, so they might be removing these panels soon to swap those out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the assumption is they're going to put the same blocks as Pad B has.
B. Yeah. So
Which-
basically, this traveling block is different on Pad B, which I think they would also have to replace the one up top as well too.
Yeah, which will be exciting how they lift up that crown block.
Yeah, because that's something that was installed before this was lifted, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So that'll be weird how they're going to get that out. And Marvin is nowhere near configured to do something like that. So that'll be interesting. I imagine they may have to remove the roof. I don't think that'll allow them to get to it.
I think they'd have to lower it from the inside.
Whoa.
Yeah. There's a lot of exciting.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. So yeah, that's a big operation that's going to be happening soon. I initially thought when I first saw this that they may have been planning to remove the chopsticks. And I think I mistakenly said a few weeks ago that they shortened the chopsticks in place at 39A, and that's not true. They actually modified them on the ground before they ever installed them. So I don't know. I think it's still a question whether or not they'll remove them, but I do think it should be fairly easy to cut to do the modifications in place. You're basically removing one pipe at a time, essentially.
It looks like they welded on some lift points, on those four corners.
Wow. So that will be interesting. So that means that they would end up bringing the crane over here, holding it from those lift points while they cut all of these pipes.
Yeah.
And lift it off.
It'll be
fun.
Excitement. Yeah, excitement guaranteed.
Yeah. So no removing the chopsticks then. I think that settles that. So yeah, the demolition crew should be here, I think, early this week. They're, as of now, got a bunch of porta potties down here, so poop's about to get serious. I'm not sure if I'm able to say that other word. Have we made those rules yet on here? Yeah, it's about to get serious. I imagine they'll probably get started first thing Monday, if not tomorrow. So we'll see just a lot of torch action going on, which is exciting. And as y'all can tell, they had started to demolish that berm as well too, which is cool because I hated that berm. Yeah. All of the concrete broken out for the most part and already started to dig out remove the dirt, and you can see all of the
rebar
geogrid rebar.
Yeah, that geogrid.
Yeah. So quite a process to remove this, but they're working super fast. And essentially what they're I feel like the reason why they're prioritizing this right now is because they want to get access to all the stuff in here that they need to remove. For the most part, some of the cranes can move through the backside of here, but if anything larger, like these tanks, for example, they would probably rather remove them from this direction. The question is whether or not they will end up. Okay. Yeah, so the question is whether or not they'll end up removing these smaller tanks right here, which, I mean, we've been waiting for that to happen for a very long time, and we're kind of assuming that it's going to happen just because they're small and nobody likes small tanks.
No, they should be.
Yeah, and I mean, the weird thing that when we've mentioned this for years now, that's always been, okay, I guess I'm going back to that picture. One of these tanks was never hooked up in the first place. So it's just been sitting here, not doing anything, forgotten about, basically since it was first installed. So I don't know. I have a feeling they'll remove these because it would make more sense to kind of push the tank farm in this direction or consolidate it down to this direction a little bit more, which is going to be interesting because of the fact that they have these big tanks here. Alex, what do you think the chances of this being temporary is?
Pretty good, because I think they just need it until they clear out the other side and standardize like the slightly larger tanks that they have at the Cape.
Right.
Because
yeah, because so the problem here is basically where that trench is going to be. So number one, I'm not fully convinced that they have enough space to build this yet. So I think one of the big things that was necessary for this is to get access to be able to build on this land. As far as I know, they have not done that yet.
they've put in, with the Corps of Engineering, there's preliminary submittals, but there's some problems with the land swap because SpaceX bought all the land behind Starbase, around
Right.
1,000 or so acres, and they're converting that into a land bank. But there's one specific type of wetland that area is missing.
Right.
So
So I guess maybe I'm wrong about this because I guess the edge of the trench would come to right here.
yeah, there's no room for their current GSC bunker on this
Right.
plot.
Yeah, it would. I mean, it's almost enough room, barely, but
Right.
I don't think it would fit.
No, and I still partially of the opinion that that was a placeholder, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I mean, what I've been wanting to see is the trench move in this direction, and then have vehicles stacking on this side. I feel like that would make more sense.
That definitely would, but then they're juggling with the small footprint. Because then they can't win right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that, to say the least. I mean, tons of questions in that area, I would say right now. But moving on, I guess, to the other parts of tank farm. So we should see this entire bunker get removed. These tanks, I don't. Actually, Alex, we haven't confirmed whether or not these have any relation to the methane reclaim.
Everything with a red barrier around it looks like it's staying. So it looks like they're keeping that one. And obviously,
so these will go.
Yeah.
These will go. These will go.
that whole thing is going to come out. Yeah.
Yeah. And they have already started to remove everything from the Locke's side of the farm. They initially started off with these pipes that were extended across here for the subcoolers. So you can see those pipes laying down here. They removed those. After that, they started removing the motors for the LOX pumps. So you see all those motors down here. And then they pulled all of the actual pumps, which are down there, and the casings, the sumps. So all of this was done within about 48 hours. And I think most of it has already started to be shipped off at this point. The question is where they're going to go. So I imagine they may need these at KSC, but given that we have kind of started to see that they're using the split manifolds for the LOX pumps, they may not be using these down there. So that'll be interesting. I don't know. I'm kind of confused what's going on with that situation right now.
Everything ends up at McGregor, unfortunately.
Yeah, I suppose McGregor could be another option, but both of the Raptor test stands, the new vertical test stands, are both operational now, I think, right? Raptor North and South. Yeah. So, well, there's also Pad 37, which these could go to as well. So, if anything, they may just go into storage somewhere until they need them at 37. I have actually been told as of yesterday that progress at Pad 37 is a lot further than what we currently think it is. We just never get to see it. So, yeah, I think they may be further ahead on 37 than a lot of people are aware of right now.
The satellite images, they're almost done with all the demo, and it looks like they're starting to do more of the finish grading.
Yeah, it's crazy how fast they're moving and doing it in technically 4 separate locations right now, because you have SLC 6 in Vandenberg, then you have Pad A here, technically still Pad B here, and then 39 and 37. So good time to be a GSE engineer, I'll say that.
True.
Yeah, it's crazy how fast they're dismantling this. I imagine that by the next flyover, all of these subcoolers will be gone, and potentially some of them moved over to Massey's, at least 2 of them possibly. I still on the fence if I believe that's going to happen, but it's possible.
And probably the rest to the Cape if they're using the same split as they're doing here.
Right. I think this morning they pulled off this manifold right here.
Yeah, they definitely are in a hurry to get that
out of the way.
Yeah, and they already put the protection on that subcooler, so I would think it was going to get lifted out last night, but I think they're just taking
protection.
off
What do you mean?
The white flange covers.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, I mean, and I think once these are out, we'll probably see them start to demolish this building. I actually the current plans show them using this again. I just don't think that's a good idea.
Till they figure out how to cool it.
Yeah.
Duct work always goes on walkabout, and they've already started stripping it.
The building?
The HVAC ducts.
Oh. Wait. There's some on the side right here?
Yeah, and there's a big pile by the Highway 4 side.
Cool. Yeah. So yeah, this thing's probably gone. I imagine they'll probably upgrade this. If anything, if they keep this here, if they may upgrade it to the ones that are up above here. But I don't know. I just think this is an absolutely terrible location for it. especially with the flame trench. Like, it's okay with this 360-degree pattern that they have going on with the exhaust plume right now, but when you split it 50-50 going in either direction, then that plume is basically going to wash straight over here and start to curve out in this direction. So yeah, I don't think this is a good location for a big steam cloud to be passing over constantly. So we'll see what they end up doing with that. But yeah, making tons of progress out with the dismantling all of this stuff. And for some reason, there is a crane, 2 cranes that have been sitting over here on the methane side, but they haven't really touched that yet.
I disconnected it and pulled out its basket strainer and the manual shutoff valve from the front, right by Highway 4.
Basket strainers were
Right
here.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Okay, so yeah, disconnected, and then the wait. Okay, yeah, sorry. There's the methane lines disconnected right here, so that maybe removed back towards this.
Yeah, I think that I think that is temporary to drain the tanks over,
Right.
since it's not insulated or anything.
That would be interesting, and that's something we don't know about as far as what they've been doing to drain any of this stuff. So we did see them drain the water tanks. They drained the CO2 tanks. I've seen tankers. There's even one right here right now, which makes no sense to be here. So what is it?
That's nitrogen. No, that's
Okay.
Lux. I think that's white.
I'm curious why this is even here right now, and I do wonder if they're offloading or not offloading, onloading.
It's offloading because you can see the nitrogen vents are all frosty on the other side of the tank farm.
Oh, over here.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they will be doing some testing with Pad B soon, so that maybe they're just keeping them topped off. Yeah, I was wondering if they would like drain anything that's over here. So there's water in these. I imagine they've already drained those. These, I forget. These are water.
Yeah, those are all.
Yeah,
those are the Fire X replacements.
Right, and these are for the pressure building circuit.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're all of this is going to be removed. So I imagine the water is already drained from that. There's some other stuff down here that should be removed as well too. So they have this this heater system, which it's really hard to get a view of it. There's basically water heaters down here, which will probably be removed as well too. They've kind of boxed themselves in a little bit. It's not necessarily the easiest to get to, I think.
I just want them to replace this pipeway. But
this?
Yeah, it's dreadful.
Yeah, actually, when I went down there last time, I was looking at it from the front, and I almost threw up, but I have a pretty strong stomach, so I didn't. But yeah, this part at least down here looks pretty bad. But most of everything I think from here to about here theoretically should get removed as long as they decide not to keep these tanks, which I fully expect them to get rid of them.
Yeah. I think the first few launches they'll use them, but then we'll pretty quickly see the small tanks swapped out.
Yeah, I mean, and the way that they've constructed, with the way that all the skids are down here, theoretically they could easily move the whole thing over to the other to replace these. So I do think they would want longer tanks, but they could replace. You could probably fit like, I don't know, 4 of them, maybe 5. Even if you swap these out too, I think these are probably going to go as well. Yeah,
I mean,
the methane part of this is going to be the most interesting, I think. What were we saying, Alex?
Yeah, that could be the reason the pile drill is still here.
Yeah, because these don't have piles underneath them, right?
None.
Neither do these, I think, actually.
Yeah, those are all straight on soil. And from the way the Lego pad was pooling water.
It's a
Yeah,
good idea to get proper support underneath them.
considering those two big tanks got piles.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, they're
Yeah, it's gonna be fun watching all of this just being dismantled, and get used to. Well, I would say, don't get used to seeing it look like this. This is one of the last flyovers where, if not the last flyover, where most of this stuff will be intact. So, yeah, say your goodbyes. It's been real. Pad A, did its thing, got us to 11 flights. I think this was like super crucial for, being a test bed for what they needed to improve for their second, stage 0 2.0. So, it served its purpose, but time to move on. And, this is why we don't get attached to inanimate objects.
and
I'm excited.
A shout out to the bidet crew. 10 flights was no maintenance. It's really impressive.
Yeah, for sure. And that gives us an idea of what we can expect on the deck, because the deck won't get anywhere near as much abuse as what this had to deal with. So that'll be very good. I think it'll handle it pretty well.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just looking to see what kind of crane that was. Alrighty. Anything else on Pad A? I think pretty much covered it all. Let's see. I guess I suppose we should take questions on it just before I move over to Pad B.
Yeah, we could do that real quick. We just got a few. Chazbomb asks, when Pad A is redone, will they tie into the Pad B tank farm or make a replica of the Pad B tank farm?
From the documentation, it looks like it's going to be a common pumps, but 37 is split, and it might just be a real estate issue here at Starbase.
Yeah, I would say it should be. I mean, it's going to be difficult to make that modification, because they basically need to tee off all of these pipes. So, like, theoretically, you could just use everything up to these valves for both farms, and then just basically tee off all of these lines to go towards Pad A. But that will take Pad B out of commission while that stuff is happening. But they've done that before in between launches, modifications like that. I would like to believe that if that was the plan, they would have installed flanges in these locations ahead of time, like they've done down in areas like. Well, it's actually gone now because they
serves its purpose.
Jesus, this line, this like is so long. It's down in this area. Yeah, they had the flange on here so that they could eventually tap into it. So I would have expected that they would have installed flanges on everything down in the bottom of this trench, but they have not done that.
And they probably need a similar to the isolation pad pit for doing that.
Yeah, that's a lot to split over. So on that note, I think that tells me that either at some point Pad B will have to be offline for a little bit for them to make those changes. I mean, you could, let's say, do one pipe per launch, right? Like, so in between each launch, you add a flange in between maybe one or two pipes. And then, after like 3 launches, you have all of these and all of your high pressure lines teed off. I mean, you have one tee right here. Like, stuff like this is basically what I think we should see all over the place. So theoretically, that could happen between launches in order to avoid having to actually take the whole thing offline. But yeah, I think it makes the most sense to use this farm for both pads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, duplicating just the pump section. And on the other side of the wall, they have a large area labeled as, I think, heat exchangers. So I believe that'll just be, they'll clone
Up
this.
here, they had, yeah, heat exchanger.
Yeah, they have a big pad. So
Yeah, it was confusing, I would say, because it made it seem like the pump farm would extend out here. But, I mean, it seems like overkill to do that, I guess. But we'll know soon, I would say, because the moment they start filling in this stuff, that will tell us a lot about what their future plans are.
yeah, I think the environmental stuff will get some national security variances. So
Yeah, I mean, I think they need this land at minimum for the water farm. Like they absolutely have to have more land to fit the water farm.
they
So
need they need the room as well, just for a lot of things.
yeah,
'Cause supporting two pads, I think the farm's gonna need a definite expansion.
right.
Yeah, the next couple
You know,
of
I'm
years are going to be very, very interesting.
agreed. I do expect them to replace this entire wall as well.
That's going to.
Yeah, because the wall that they have for pad B is like twice as thick, so if not more. So I think that will probably get replaced as well too.
Same thing with
Um,
walls at Massey's.
yeah, similar to those. So basically, be much bigger like these ones. Was that all the questions from Pad A?
Well, based on previous history, I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this one. But Liam Donald says, do we think they'll preserve any of the launch mount? It is very historical hardware.
No,
Be preserved
sadly.
from when it leaves in the recycling dumpster till it gets to wherever, Asia or another steel plant in the States.
Yeah, it's too big, too awkward, too everything. You know, you're not gonna reconstruct it somewhere. So, oh well.
Yeah, I think they don't care about that stuff. I mean, they could probably open up a merchandise store and sell off all of that stuff, like little pieces of it over the next like 3 years, and they would probably actually sell everything. But they're not going to do that. So
More hassle than it's worth. So,
yeah,
yeah, we're all set to go on to the next area.
cool. Well, this is our final area of the day. Not a ton to talk about on the Pad B side, more on the gantry, or not the gantry, but the bunker. I think that a lot of the work that they still have remaining to do in here is happening very slowly because everybody that should be working in here is currently at Massey's. So there's a whole manifold that is like part of the isolation system right here that they've just basically stopped work on. So yeah, I think as soon as they finish Massey's, this will pick back up. But this Massey's is, in my opinion, causing a delay to some stuff out here. But it's not too much of a delay in all reality because I personally think that this bunker is one of the most critical remaining things. And that really just depends on whether or not they keep this building. So I have a feeling that this building is going to get demolished and all of the comms and power stuff that's running to there will come to this building. So they got a lot of work to do on that. I don't even know if they've started moving anything in there because when you look at it from the front, well, you can't really tell, to be honest.
Just started that.
I wonder if that view shows conduit being ran down there or not.
I think there's a bunch that is in the ground that they're just exposing. Yeah, they pulled the condensers off that building and unfortunately,
Um,
because that awful, the suborbital building,
yeah,
and
up here.
yeah,
They're
but
starting to pull those off.
they're building a wall in that section. I'm wondering if they're just going to temporarily use it as a distribution hub while they're wiring in the new building.
Where's the wall?
Right there, there's a scaffolding, and yeah, right by that scaffolding, they're building a center block wall, and they have a ton of temporary air blowing into it.
Why?
I don't know. I still think this is gonna get sliced and diced because they're removing
What are these
all the
guys doing?
line sets. They're removing the line sets from the air conditions,
Okay.
and yeah, I think that's a temporary SpaceX wall while they're fitting out the main bunker. For most of the testing for the next, once they get a booster up there, they're not going to need. Yeah, and
There's some conduit, but the amount that's going to this building that's not being used currently is quite significant. So
yeah, no, that's why I'm thinking they're just using the bare minimum for their testing
right,
because they have however many months till the launch to fully equip the new bunker.
right, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, it'll be difficult to actually see if they're doing anything in there because once they put the windows on this side, you won't really be able to see in there very well, unless they have equipment staged outside. But yeah. So one of the things I'm also expecting that we'll probably see soon. So as they've started to cover up some of the gas generators down here, I think we may start to see them cover other things as well too. Specifically, this entire structure once it's finished. They have been bringing in things that look like they're meant to be covers for this. So if I go to this storage lot, we can see all of these platforms right here, which look like they're supposed to go on top of those. And there's more down here as well too. Yeah, all the way over here. There's a bunch. So I think they're planning to cover up a lot of that stuff, which will kind of look similar to what they did on Pad A side with most of that stuff. But yeah, this will look really cool once they actually do that. But moving on to our final area, the actual launch mount, which as of yesterday, I believe, they've installed their final piece of cladding on this corner right here. So they still have to do the stairways. They have, well, there's a few things. They have these panels right here, which I think are going above the stairway on both sides.
Yes.
I did see a picture from Carlos Nunez, or what's his last name? Yeah, Nunez. I saw a picture from him this morning that I didn't like very much. And now I can see it from this angle too. So yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like these panels were supposed to fully span this gap. So I don't know what's going on here, but I don't like it. I do think the other panels should hopefully span that gap on both sides all the way down to the bottom. Probably leave like just a little area down here for them to actually walk up those stairs. But definitely this needs to be covered. If the whole bunker needs to be covered, then this certainly does, because you'll get a lot of heat in here. I mean, the plume should go out, but I think it'll curl back in a little bit, and you'll still get stuff entering through there. So,
I mean, it found its way into the first OLM without much effort.
true.
So I think they're gonna. It'll be a weld plate. Because the steel that shielding is an inch thick. It's on one of the labels.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah,
That's it?
I know.
Huh.
But all that ripping underneath it should.
I mean, the thing is, this shouldn't have direct plume interaction, really. I guess we don't know what they're going to do for pad avoidance, but I imagine if any of the plume touches the deck, it's going to be on these sides.
Yeah.
So this stuff should be good.
And burn plates are a
Right.
thing.
Oh, yeah, actually, I wouldn't be surprised if they installed burn plates on top of these, but it does seem unnecessary to me. We do also see some additional vents, or I think these are vents. So we have a big, smaller vent right here. There's vents all over this thing. So there's one right here. There's one up here, a bigger one, and then these two right here are the largest. And so these are most likely, I guess, Alex is thinking those will cover that, which makes sense.
And
that
either side of the locks QDs, there's two other vents they added.
Yeah, which is curious, because that's the only thing really up there is the. I suppose there's hydraulics up there.
And since the structure is going to be fairly sealed when people are working in here, they're going to need
Airflow, right?
Yeah, and the curious thing, there's other shots of inside the QD. You can sort of see it on the methane. There's a fan right there, directly, yeah, right there. And where it's venting, no idea.
Is there one on the lock side, right? So right here.
Yep. Yeah.
Huh.
So, I mean,
Well, that's weird.
that's what I was thinking is, are they just going to cut a hole? Since they're fond of doing that these days.
There's like very little clearance with the behind those tubes. I wonder if they're pulling in air from this angle instead of pushing it out.
Yeah, there could be some sort of ducting that we just can't see
Yeah,
heading down that wall. But
very curious.
Indeed, I think there's going to be a lot of nitrogen purging or venting into the system pre-launch.
That is great news, actually.
Yeah.
What we haven't seen actually, and that I've still been looking for, are the pre-chill vents for like the launch mount vent that we see on pad A. I don't think they have that over here yet. At least I haven't seen one.
I don't think they're gonna have it because they have they could use the LOX vapor return for a lot of that.
Right. Yeah, so we may not see too much venting coming from the launch mount other than any purge gas that escapes from here, which will probably be not visible.
Yeah, unless they're just going to blast it through some of these vents, which would be kind of cool.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see the first time they test this. And one of the other interesting things they have going on down here, which is confusing, to say the least. They have some. So this is a pad that's basically, obviously, right in front of the tower, which they've poured concrete on here over the last week or so, and it's got a cover over it currently. I think they put water on top of it too.
It looks like they've been, yeah.
I don't know why, but so then there's another pad right here, which you can see a bunch of studs sticking up from, and that was similar to what there was a bunch of studs sticking up from this as well. So the thought is that they're most likely going to put steel plates on here, and I believe there's already a steel plate here.
Yeah, that's where that giant embed went.
Right. Yeah, and so this will all be covered in steel, which anything that will have direct interaction with the plume, basically, they're covering in steel. I do suspect that there'll be some plume interaction on the this staging pad right here, but obviously you're not going to cover that in steel. But yeah, so we'll probably see them pour this and then add those steel panels onto here after. And the interesting thing, though, is that and this has been visible for quite a while, but they have flanges sticking up from here, which basically have pipes running from
That corner.
through underneath here.
Yeah, and there's a steel box on the corner of the OLIT where they, yeah, right there at the leg is where they hook around into tower base.
So they come into the building.
I thought they came in the building, but we never got a good view if they went straight to the propellant trench.
Yeah, so this is interesting. It reminds me of the original staging pads that they stopped using on pad A, because they were essentially part of that was to allow them to like pressurize the vehicles as they're waiting to be lifted. So I do wonder if this is something like that, but I don't know. I just can't imagine that being necessary. So
They
this is
haven't done that.
interesting.
Yeah, in the capped center deluge, it looks like they're on the wall. Yeah, it looks like they're going to be flooding this area
With quite a lot of water.
Yeah, I mean the catch point sort of half on the top deck and half on this part, it looks like.
Yeah, so you may see like rainbirds down here or like just jets spraying out along the...
Yeah. That's what my current speculation is.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's just a single rainbird, but that's a lot of water coming out of that one.
Yeah. And it's curious, this has all the orange markings as well with their...
You know, I'm thinking about this. This will be way more effective than what they were doing, turning the deluge system on during landing.
Right.
I think this will probably be a lot more effective.
Yeah, with the top deck and that, it's probably all they need.
Right. I'm excited to see that system in action.
Soon.
I think everybody is.
Me too.
I think we kind of covered everything. They do have a bunch of scaffolding in the trench still right now, which they had removed it previously when they were testing the deluge system, but now it's all back again. So it's definitely got something still going on down there. I don't know if it's just to get access to the side of this or whatever, but I think they could access this from the top. So there must be something else going on down there. Not quite sure.
I think they're doing something with the DSS because the other side, it looks like they removed the scaffolding and there's actually a basket lift where I think they were cutting off all those stub outs where they're attaching the scaffolding.
Oh, okay. Down here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So detonation suppression. I would have thought that would have been installed before they even lifted the launch mount, but we haven't really seen any pipes for that laying around here. So
I think it was installed, but I think they were just purging it and washing out any.
Right, that makes sense.
And they couldn't really. It could be the nitrogen that they mix with the water spray. There's one pipe that exits somewhere. Oh, I think that's just a pallet lean against it. But there's two pipes, one on this side at the bottom and one on the other side of that wing wall.
Down here?
Now, the bunker side. I can't see it anymore. Maybe they removed it. Which was the only other possible venting location so far.
Are you sure there was one that went right here?
That one I was looking at previous. There was nothing in that corner previously.
Okay.
But because it
Yeah.
seems like it's right by that structural beam too. Which I don't know.
Wait, is this
Electrical.
okay?
Yeah,
Some lights in the stairway.
probably.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I think we just about covered everything. I did mention Marvin chilling down here, not doing anything. They've. It looks like they're ready to raise it back up, but I don't know what they're doing. It's still just sitting there.
And I
Yeah.
think they actually installed all the boom sections they had.
Yeah. So this is we haven't seen it in this configuration in forever, right?
Yeah, almost to the windmill lift. So I think they're going to be
But
using it to.
they can't install the QD arm with this thing, right?
I have to look at the weight charts. I expected them to use a shorter because they still have the heavy duty block over on Highway 4 in Hook. So, and I don't think you could use it with that boom configuration.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be interesting to see what they got going on here. I'm also expecting to see some more cladding on the tower. I think they still had some panels down there, but I'm fully expecting more to arrive. Hopefully, I want to see more cladding on there. Cool. So, do we have any questions?
We got a couple more questions. So, Crane Man had a couple. You touched on one already, but the second one is what will happen with the two large openings at the bottom of the gantry?
And on the renders, those are open, which kind of defeats the purpose, I would think.
Yeah. I mean, unless the floor is sloped all the way out, like I imagine, I would have expected there to be some sort of cover on those doors. You're gonna get birds in there and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, that'll be interesting. But yeah, the renders do show it open, so as far as we can tell, that's they're gonna remain that way.
Sounds good to me. So,
No, it doesn't.
It's horrible.
yeah.
That's where the main propellant valves are.
Well, I mean, I would have
I'd
thought
say
that
that's
they
the
would
only
have
thing I
put.
don't like.
Yeah, I figured they would have put some kind of slight cover, almost like what they're doing with the the vents and stuff, putting those covers over them. I figured they'd do something like that.
Those hurricane or those doors they have on basement entrances. Something.
Yeah.
Go over to the shipyard. I'm sure they have a lot of good solutions for this.
Guess we'll see. All right. So Schizo Quark asks, do you think there will be deluge specifically targeted at the QDs? So maybe
Well,
some ports on the top deck.
well, there should be there's holes all in the deck right here, which I don't think they're gonna. I think they're gonna spray outwards. It's possible that some of them are spraying towards the QD, but I don't know. That's a good question. There certainly isn't anything on the top here, but yeah, that's tough. I mean, we also don't know at all the direction that these holes are facing, so it's possible that some could go across the middle. I personally think they'll all go out, but I think it's possible that some will come in the middle.
They are removable, so there's.
Yeah, really looking forward to that first test of the top plate.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got a question from SJ. Asks, will they be weight testing the clamps for OLM2?
Lamps are still a bit of a mystery.
I don't think they can do it the way they did last time. That's for sure. And I mean, we don't know whether or not they have the same load cell system inside of here. I imagine they probably do, but maybe they don't. Maybe that is something they decide they don't need anymore. They probably aren't even using it on Pad A, honestly. So if they do bring some sort of load testing system out here, that'll tell us a lot more about the functionality of those arms. But yeah, until we see that, we don't even know if it's necessary.
Yeah, for sure. So this next one, I'm not sure if they're looking for a little bit of crow or not. But Elliot asks, looking at the OLM now, do you guys think a mobile launch mount would have ever been possible at all?
Yes. We don't know what's going into the lower deck for all the hydraulics, but pretty much all the switchgear and hydraulic pumps and everything else are in the GSC bunker. So, and if you look from the other side, it's pretty clear that the whole OLM is still somewhat isolated from the rest of the walls.
Yeah, possible, just not easy in any way, shape, or form.
The main issue is the ridge cap is technically above grade. So, and the height of the deck above the actual ground underneath isn't so high, so I think it could have been done.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, and then last one for today from John T. Are those cryo pipes in the staging area to allow safing of caught ships and boosters?
Mm. Well, I suppose you could, if you needed to like drain the ship after landing, drain any residuals, that could theoretically be a place to do that. With the booster, I think you would just place it on the launch mount and do it that way. But
yeah, I would be curious how you'd build basically a ship QD. Because if you look at Massey's, how high, because I mean, it's higher than when they're doing the static fires at Pad A. It'd be a pretty tall structure in there to protect.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I do think it would probably become necessary to like purge the entire vehicle once it lands if you don't put it back on top of a booster, which more than likely not going to do that for quite a while. You might need to set it down on the ground and purge everything.
Right. That's definitely, because I mean, they have all the embeds for the stand, so they're obviously planning on having a stand here during landings and launches.
Yeah, it'd be interesting actually if all that hardware is on the stand, and then it just sits on top of this, and bolts down onto it or something like that. I don't know.
That seems like the more than likely solution, because they have time between launch and a ship catch, especially if I mean, orbital mechanics and all. We don't know how much downrange the ship actually has, whether or not it could come after one orbit or if it would have to.
16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so that's
with
definitely
that's everything we got.
Oh man. What if what they're building on that test stand is actually hardware for mounting a QD rather than grid fin testing.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we got tons to keep our eyes on over the next few weeks, or months actually, because we got basically until, I'm assuming, end of January, February at the earliest, until we start seeing vehicles at the pad. I don't know. It's possible the booster could be here earlier just to do initial testing of the system, but overall, I think my favorite thing about all of this is the fact that when you look at the state of the launch mount currently, it basically is closer to being what Pad A looked like after the first flight than before. Because when Booster 4 came out, like the launch mount was nowhere near completed. So like this is far more completed state than Pad A was when they first began testing vehicles, which shows a lot of progress on their side. So yeah, I'm excited for what's coming next. Let's see. So yeah, I guess with that said, I think we've handled most of the questions and all the donations. Sorry if we didn't get to anything that you guys may have asked that we missed. But we can always address it next week. I'll probably be on next week, more than likely. So we'll see you guys then if that's the case. But yeah, thank you to everybody who joined us today. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like button. We always appreciate you guys doing that for us. Oh, one of the things I forgot to mention earlier in the episode, we actually, Mauricio was able to get the new laptop. So thank you to everybody who donated for that. So I think that arrived today or maybe yesterday, but I know he's getting it set up right now. So that's really awesome. And I think he was able to get the Starlink as well too. So that will help as well. Yeah.
Hey, it's Mauricio. I just wanted to chime in real quick. I don't know if y'all can hear me in the chat, but yeah, it's been a while since I've been on one of these. So I did want to chime in and thank everybody for the support of the community. I know these laptops are expensive. It does expedite a lot of the editing process on our end. I was trying to calculate it, and me and Matt were thinking maybe about, it's going to be about 30-40% faster editing time than last time. So, we'll see how it goes for next week's flyover. And also the Starlink is going to be a huge help since we didn't actually own the Starlink that we're using on the flyovers. That was Fred's. And huge shout out to Fred. He's been our primary pilot out there, flying us over Starbase. So, but other than that, thanks to everybody that donated, all the supporters, community. We really do appreciate it on our end. So, thank you so much. Back to you, Zach.
Awesome. Yeah. It's really appreciate your guys' support. It goes a long way. Especially even just towards donating towards the flyovers. That's extremely helpful for us. So definitely appreciate all of you. And with that said, I also want to thank Alex for helping me out again today, as always, and Matt for doing double duty, handling questions and donations. Actually, triple duty: questions, donations, running the stream, and keeping kids in line at the same time. So I know you had a little hot mic there at the beginning of the show, which is pretty funny. After all this time, you got to slip up at least once. So,
good Lord, I just can't keep it straight for one episode.
Hey, it can always be worse. So, definitely appreciate you. And with that, I guess I will see you all next week. If you guys haven't already, make sure to check out the episode that I released on my channel yesterday. I think most of you probably already seen it. If not, make sure to check that out. But yeah, I'll go ahead and pass this off to Alex.
Thank you, Zach. I was about to remind everybody to watch your episode because it's very good and informative. And yeah, it was a fun show. Thanks, Matt. You're lucky Todd didn't send you another limerick, so it's been a while. And thank you all. Talk to you later.
Man, I will take the limerick. Why not? So yes, thank you everyone for sticking around for almost 3.5 hours. We really appreciate everyone here, and without you guys, we could not do this every week. So thank you again. Episode 174. It was a long one, but it was a good one. So with that, we will see you all next week. Most engines cut off. Hot staging confirmed. Love you, bye.